Hello and welcome to the Game Theory Podcast. I am your host, Sam Vecenie. Well, today, this one is for the sickos, folks. There's no other way to say it. We are diving deep into the 2025 NBA Draft second round, where we will be talking about all of the players selected here today. Bryce Simon will join me, and we're going to get real nerdy and real deep into it. Let's go. But first, let's hit the music.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Way downtown.
Bang! Bang! What's this gonna be? Wow! Are you kidding me?
Hello and welcome to the Game Theory Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Vecenie. But if you watch the tape, what you will see completely orchestrated this game. Bryce, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, Sam? Automatically off to a better start tonight because I am not muted. I'm ready to go. I'm excited for this one. I'm cool with the second round, especially early on. There's some fun names on the board. I'm interested to see where these guys go. We had like 7 trades today. The Phoenix Suns are playing 2K with their second round picks. It's amazing.
Just trying to get Rasheer Fleming. That's it.
I love it. I respect it. But we have some fun names. Rasheer, Noah Penda, Maxime Renault, Ryan Kalkbrenner, Adou, Thiero. We're going to get into it. I'm excited. Your guy, Sion James. Maybe we'll hear your guy, Johni Meshach. It's going to be fun.
Man, I was really excited yesterday. Like, I feel great after that. Honestly, I feel super great after the first day. For folks that want to read my writing, I did a mock draft of the second round. If you're curious, let's go. Also, I did winners and losers yesterday, and I think that's where we're going to start. Anybody that you feel like particularly did well yesterday before we get into just full-scale sicko mode, breaking down like Johni Meshach and these dudes?
Sure. So I think the Spurs, I like what they did. I talked about that last night. I like the Hornets. I saw some people had them as losers. I don't fully understand that.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah, I like that. There was the Heat, and not that they did anything spectacular. I think the Heat and the Celtics were the best result of like, let's just sit here and see what happens. And the Heat end up with Kasparis, and the Celtics end up with Hugo Gonzalez, and then we'll see who they take here in the second round as well. So I think those are the big quote unquote winners or the drafts I really liked from yesterday.
I basically agree with those. Look, how much time do I want to spend on the Pelicans again? Like, I've talked about them enough at this point. Like, the number of texts that I have gotten, it's well over a dozen from people working in the NBA, not like agents, not anybody, like genuine front office people working in the NBA, asking what in the world the Pelicans are doing is wild. I've had multiple teams tell me that currently their analytics staff have the Pelicans as a bottom 5 team right now, based off of like their modeling and things like that. So to give up the pick that they did unprotected, and that's without including like the potential for Milwaukee to like have Giannis get hurt, right? Like if Giannis gets hurt for 35 games, the Bucks are one of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference next year. So to not even accounting for that. So like for them to give up this unprotected pick that is the best of Milwaukee or New Orleans is just totally baffling to me. It's baffling to everybody in the league. I had one assistant general manager who put it very succinctly to me. He was just like, this is the worst non-superstar trade we have seen in a decade.
I mean, and here's the thing. If Derek Queen ends up being awesome, then we're all going to eat crow, and Dumars and Troy Weaver.
Bryce, no, we're not. That's the thing about this trade. Like,
well, it depends on what that pick ends up being, I guess.
Correct. I think Derek Queen's going to be good. I want to be very clear to people. Like, Derek Queen is like, I like the player. I don't love the fit with Zion. Like, I think that's a whole other argument and conversation. Yeah. But like, I like the player Derek Queen, and I think he's going to be good. It's more the fact that this has a chance to be a top 5 pick, and you only traded up 10 spots. Like, you traded the difference between Derek Queen and Asa Newell, which I had like a fairly sizable difference on. Like, I had them in 2 different tiers, right? But there's like a non-zero chance, however high you think it is. Let's call it, I don't know. Let's call it a 15 to 20% chance, I would argue. Because there's 14, if you're a bottom 5 team in the league, which I think the Pelicans are right now, you have what chances to get a top 3 pick in the draft, right? Like very, very high. It's probably like 50% or so, right? Like 45%. Let's even cut that in half. Let's say it's a 20% chance that they're trading one of Cam Boozer, AJ DeBansa, or Darren Peterson. That's about what I think this is. I think they're trading about a 20% chance at one of those 3 guys. You're muted.
Dang it. There we go. Top 5? Is that what you said? Top 5 for the number 1 pick?
Top 4 for the number 1 pick's 14%, but number 2 would be what? If they're, in that range, it'd be fairly high.
For the number, if they land where?
The bottom 5 team in the league next year.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. To make sure they stay in the top 4.
Yes.
57, 58%.
Yeah. It's like somewhere between 40 and 55, depending on where you fall. If you're the worst team, it's like 55. If you're the best team, it's a little bit lower than that. But yeah, I think it's like a 20% chance, basically, that they're trading one of AJ DeBansa, Cam Boozer, or Darren Peterson. And that's a crazy, crazy, crazy thing to do. That's an insane thing to do.
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to do math here. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not going to argue the process. All I was trying to say is if Derek Queen ends up being a stud, then maybe we forget about this a little bit. I don't think you can argue that the process is sound, that the idea behind this is sound. Because I saw some people too, I listened to a podcast today that kind of was like, oh yeah, Queen and Sion, I kind of like that. And I just kind of wanted to go, why? And, you kept saying it last night about how bad they're going to be defensively. And in the moment of everything we were doing, it didn't register until today. I got a chance to go through the roster and who was going to play and realized why you continued to make that point in terms of, okay, well, if you're going to put these guys on the courts, like Fears is a negative defender for sure. And then Sion isn't a good defender. And if you're going to play him with Queen, now your front court all together. You've mentioned this with Misi as well. So it just, I don't know. I struggle. Unprotected. And you're playing with 2 teams, right? Like, even if the Pelicans are magically awesome, there's still a chance the Bucks aren't good, injury or otherwise. And it still ends up being an awesome pick. It's just,
right.
It was crazy process. There's no question.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that they end up being right. Like, here's the thing. Like, I root for all of these kids to be successful.
Yeah.
I don't really care about the teams involved for the most part, but like, I root for the kids to be successful. Like, I very much want Derek Queen to be successful in the NBA. That dude's super fun. I met him in Santa Barbara. He's like a great, fun personality, like really, really good dude. Jeremiah Fears, like I have Jeremiah Fears ranked 18th. I want that kid to like be an all-star. I don't care if I'm right or wrong. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the way I go about this. Like, the way I think about my board is like, I think about it in terms of informed bets, but I think about it in a way where like, I want everybody to be like successful. I want everyone to be happy and like everyone to like live like the life that they want to live. You know what I mean? So it's just very, it's a wild process. Let's go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, neither of us are trying to do hot takes or be right or outsmart people. Like, I feel like there's a little bit of that. It's like, we just give analysis. Like, we evaluate players. Maybe we end up being wrong. Maybe you don't agree with our opinion, but it comes from a place of this is what we think in terms of basketball and basketball alone. I don't feel like people probably watch us because we give hot takes and are super spicy with what we talk about or whatever. And so, Yeah, I want to be wrong. Like, I want Derek Queen to be awesome and this to be right. I'm just giving my analysis and opinion based off what I've seen and evaluated.
So some questions here from folks before we get into Rasheer Fleming getting picked. We'll wait until he gets picked. So someone asked, Sam, where did you have Liam ranked? I had him 20 or 21, something like that. Good pick. I like Liam McNeely. I think he's going to be a rotation player. I don't know that there's like a crazy amount of upside, but it'll be something around like, solid bench shooter to me.
I had
you would leave him
19.
a little bit higher.
I had 19.
Yeah.
I ended up with him right. Like, he was right there at the top of that next tier. I had him higher at one point. Another thing is I sat there and got to like reflect. I'm like, what if Mark Williams fails a physical? Like, what what if it wasn't like just a Lakers thing or whatever? What if he fails the physical? And then now they have to now what, Liam would go to Phoenix, and what else was involved in that? Was that
the 2031 first, I believe.
Yeah.
One of those bad 2031 firsts. Someone asked here, shout out to One, do you think all Australians get drafted today? So Rocco, Zakarski, Alex Tui, Tyrese Proctor, and Lockie Ulbrich. Oh my God, the ESPN broadcast is also starting with this Pelicans deal. That's amazing. So I think that Tui, I would say, definitely gets drafted.
I would agree.
I think Proctor 100% Proctor's getting picked, I would guess, within the first 10 picks, if you made me say.
Also agree.
Rocco, I think, gets drafted. Like, I feel pretty good about that. Ulbrich will be a question, I would say. I hope he does. I actually really like Lockie Ulbrich, but it'll be a question as to whether or not he gets picked, I think.
Yeah, that was my initial thought as well. Tui 100%, Proctor 100%. I assume somebody will take Rocco, and there's just the upside there, and then Ulbrich would be the one that maybe not.
We're gonna get into some super chats here. RJ Lewis gang, take 2. Shout out to Brian Garces. We're rooting for him, man. We hope
Tonight,
he gets picked.
Yep.
He left a lot of money on the table to go to the draft, man. I hope he gets picked. From Dorian, shout out to Bryce for surviving Troy Weaver and Joe Dumars, man.
In fairness, I was not doing this when Joe Dumars was a part of the Pistons organization. I did, however, start my podcast the first year of the Troy Weaver regime. I walked into Motor City Hoops with Killian Hayes and Sekou Doumbouya, the saviors of the Detroit Pistons organization. Sekou wasn't a Troy draft pick, but
nonetheless. Okay. So Ben, shout out to Ben. New Orleans had to protect it just like Sacramento did with 24. Absolutely true.
That Sacramento one is interesting as well. Like, the protections are actually based off what San Antonio, like, it's originally a San Antonio pick. Is that right? I saw some tweets. Yep. I was on the combine today, so I didn't get like everything, but it's a little deeper than just like 1 through 16. It has to do with where San Antonio finishes and then if it's protected or not or something.
It's 1 to 16 based on San Antonio's pick, or it's San Antonio's draft pick. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
And then it becomes 2 seconds. So yeah, good work by Sacramento. It's totally fine. I think that's the price to pay if you're going to do that.
Yeah, and I mean, I like Nick Clifford. I mean, he went 24. Yep. I had him top 20, and I'm maybe higher than most on him, and I'm okay with that. But to me, as long as it's a smart way of getting that pick, I like the value in terms of the player.
Yeah, like I texted someone in their front office last night. I was like, this is a totally solid move. Totally solid pick. Nick Clifford is a very, solid is the best word for Nick Clifford.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? And I don't mean that negatively.
Yeah, they're not going to end up on my winners list, but they're also not going to be in consideration for my losers list because they made this move.
Totally. Ron Burgundy 79, shout out to you. The Pelicans gave up, I forgot about this, the Pacers top 4 protected 2026
because
pick,
the 23
and their own 2026 first rounder for Derek Queen. Because for people that don't remember this, they traded before Tyrese Halliburton got hurt in game 7. So between game 6 and game 7, they traded the number 23 pick, or they got the number 23 pick and traded out that Pacers pick that they had received from Toronto in the Brandon Ingram deal, who Indiana had sent to Toronto for Pascal Siakam. So they traded the Pacers top 4 protected pick. And by the way, I think the Pacers are going to be fine next year. So that's not like a catastrophe of a pick or anything. And their own unprotected 2026 for Derek Queen. That's a good point. That's wild.
I agree with the Pacers point, and this can be true about every team, Sam, but with Halliburton already out, and we've talked the luxury tax conversation, there's a chance, like there's a world where via injury or whatever, that team could be sellers at the deadline, and all of a sudden that does end up a lottery pick. I'm not predicting that. I think I'll still have the Pacers as like a play-in-ish at least team. We'll see how the rest of the offseason plays out. But like, they had the opportunity to short themselves, the Bucks, and the Halliburton-less Pacers, and instead went in on Derek Queen. I hate this because I like Derek Queen. Like,
I know.
That's what I hate about this situation is like, I just don't love that it ended up there. So anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
Enough.
From Daniel Garrett, I am more of a football draft guy. So maybe this is common knowledge and I just don't know. What's a team's trade value chart look like? I know they're fairly similar across the NFL. Honestly, I have seen like a couple of them for teams, and like the few that I've seen like felt like somewhat disparate in terms of like what they are, right? I mean, I think that teams just have different things. I think that because the NFL is such like it's a depth-based sport as opposed to like a superstar-based sport. I think that teams in the NBA are a little bit more willing to get aggressive to like go get the guy that they really believe in, like being a star, which results in like higher pick prices and like packages often being moved in the NBA. I think that's worth noting as well from last night. It was a lot. Like a lot of teams moved heavy value. Like the Jazz moved 3 second-round picks to move up 3 spots in like from 21 to 18. The Memphis Grizzlies, who a pick that we loved with Cedric Howard, they gave up Orlando's unprotected 2028 first and 2 seconds to go up 5 spots, number 11. Obviously, whatever the Pelicans did. It did feel like yesterday got very expensive in terms of teams being willing to move up.
I wonder if because there were so many teams willing to move out, right? Like that's the thing is like that's the market in terms of if teams are willing to, or excuse me, there weren't many teams willing to move out and there were multiple teams trying to move up. That's what I meant to say. I apologize. Multiple teams trying to move up, that the competition was heavy to try to do so. I mean, it's the same thing that we talk about with free agency contracts, that we talk about with other trades that involve players. What is a team willing to pay, right? And so like, that's what it comes down to. The NFL one is interesting because like there is just like, for people who don't know, for NBA fans who don't follow the NFL, and I follow it just vaguely with the Chiefs, is there's like legit charts. And you can just say, okay, if we're at pick 31 and we want to get to pick 15, there's numbers assigned to every other pick in the draft. And you just kind of chart it out. And that's what it kind of takes to get there. There's also just not as much of that. And the value of a pick drops off so much after the first round in the NBA compared to the NFL. So it's not quite the same, but it is kind of interesting to compare those two different scenarios in terms of draft trades.
From Daniel Hennessy, shout out to you, Daniel. From purely a fit on their new team perspective, which pick was the worst in the first round yesterday?
I mean, I'm not going there, so okay, I'll give some other ones. I don't love the idea of Brooklyn trying to develop 3 young guards all
I agree with
at the same time. So choose guard that's going to get left out in terms of their development. I think that,
go ahead. Yeah, like removing the evaluation of the player from the equation. I am a little bit surprised by the Hansen Yang thing.
That's where I was going to go as well. Yeah, that was my next one, Sam.
Like taking Klingon and then taking Yang.
Yep.
It just doesn't I mean, look, they have like their creators. They have big wings that they trust in terms of Denny and Tamani, and obviously still have Jeremy Grant on the roster. I guess you can make a case that like getting your guy at 16 is totally fine. I'm willing to hear it out, I guess, but I was surprised by that.
Yeah. Like I know we love Colin Murray Boyles. Do you have concerns at all, just like lack of shooting? Do you think that actually ends up being okay in Toronto? Like they'll be okay with it? Like the rest of the roster in terms of like, Do you think it's going to work out?
Yeah, I think they needed defensive infrastructure even more, to be honest. So I was okay with it. And they like to dribble, pass, shoot in terms of like scheme. Like, I think that he's going to play some small ball 5 if you let me bet.
Sure.
And I like that idea. I like the idea of surrounding him with like big, long dudes on the wings and then having him be like a small ball 5. I think that's kind of a fun way to utilize him a little bit. So from John Zemeckis, has the first round changed the amount of weight you hold in the combines besides whatever the fuck BYU pro days do for every prospect ever? Yeah, I mean, look, like BYU pro days don't really do like, it's not like they hold a BYU pro day. Like Yegor did his at the combine with his agency. No, I mean, not in terms of actually caring about what the player does. I think it's insane to value those things in any way. Like we have literally 30 to, with the international guys, like 60 games sometimes of like product on the court in 5-on-5 against like real basketball players. I would rather value that personally than like a 1-on-0 workout, because here's the thing with Yegor again, right? Because this is who this is referring to. And I kind of said this last night, like Yegor is a player that I've pretty consistently heard since the preseason, like, oh my God, he's shooting it incredibly well. He's, he looks great. Like the shot mechanics look fixed, everything like that. And then he came out and shot like he did this year. So I'm not saying he can't improve. I've heard he's a really great kid as much as anything. So I hope he does improve. But yeah, like to me, it's, it's just not something I'm ever going to put a lot of stock in, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think my biggest thing with the combine now is the measurements. And for me, that's because I don't see these kids in person. And that probably is a little bit of a blind spot in my evaluations, because I mean, like, I've seen Cedric Coward in person. I've seen Ryan Kalkbrenner in person, like a handful of players, and I haven't seen the rest. And so when you don't see them in person, sometimes you're a little bit skewed. Like I remember I came on here and I thought Derek Queen's wingspan was going to be good. And you were like, no, Bryce, it's not. And, we got the combine measurements and you were right. And I wasn't, but it's good to know that sometimes. Like, I just think sometimes you can miss a few of those things on the film. I'm not even saying like athleticism. I'm just saying length and those type of things. And so I think that's about the biggest thing I take away from the combine, is that the rest of the stuff, like I couldn't tell you what most of these guys' vertical jumps were. I couldn't tell you who played on what team in the 5-on-5s. Like, I've watched them play basketball. I feel much more confident in me evaluating them with their teams than in whatever those 5-on-5 scrimmages are, which, I mean, is a whole conversation of the context of those scrimmages and how difficult it is.
From CJ, shout out to you. We appreciate the super chat. From, I think that's all we got here. Let's talk about Phoenix real quick, because Phoenix has orchestrated a number of moves to move up the board, according to Shams, to take Rasheer Fleming, right? So just kind of looking through all of these deals that they've made, I'm trying to pull them all up as we talk. So it's that the Suns got the number 36 pick earlier from Brooklyn for 2 future second rounders. They then got the 41st overall pick for numbers 52 and 59 from the Warriors. And then they moved up to 31 with the Timberwolves, and they moved number 36 and 2 future second round picks to be able to do that. Do you think that Rasheer Fleming is worth this?
What was
worth all of these machinations?
What was the net on all of that? So like they were out 3 or 4 seconds?
Feels like that to me. Yeah. I mean, I'll see if I can pull it back up here. So yeah. So -1 in the first deal, -1 in the Warriors deal, and then -2 in the Timberwolves deal. So 4 seconds. So they're basically treating Rasheer like he
a
is
first round pick, almost.
First round pick, basically.
Yeah, I mean, and the reason we say that is because just last year we saw Oklahoma City come into the first round, not even trading up. I don't think they just came into the first round with 5 second-round picks to draft Dillon Jones. So interesting. I've said as a Pistons, like Rasheer is a guy we talk about a lot. Detroit is at 37. I said I would not be willing to give up a future first for Fleming or Maxime Renault or Penda, guys that I would trade up for. I would be willing to give up multiple seconds. So that's right on the brink for me, to be honest with you, Sam. And I'm about as big a Rasheer Fleming fan as there is, but I think this is, I would probably be fine with it. I'm not going to crush it, but that's about on the brink for me.
So yeah, I'm like a little bit lower, and this is probably something I would not have done, but I will say that for Phoenix to do it particularly, I am a little bit more comfortable because Rasheer Fleming is kind of the exact player that they need.
Yeah.
In all honesty, being that he is a 6'8" with a 7'5" wingspan, like 4-man, the thing that they need more than anything is just like size desperately. And we'll talk about maybe the evaluation a little bit more in depth once he gets picked. But yeah, I'm fine with the pick. I think it's a completely, it's reasonable, even if the price is a bit excessive to me.
I mean, I think why I might struggle with this is just like, could you have got to somewhere with less capital and just put yourself in position to draft any of Fleming? I mean, the problem with them is they can't go big again, right? So they kind of max themselves out of, because to me, there's 4 names that I really like at the top. If I'm being truly honest, Fleming, Penda, Renault, and Kalkbrenner are like the guys. Those are the guys that whoever lands those here at the top of the second, those are going to be teams I'm like, hey, this was a really good night for those teams. There are other players that I'm cool with and whatever, but those are the 4 that would kind of excite me as a fan base. The problem with Phoenix is they can't draft 2 of those guys because they just already spent a bunch of capital drafting a center.
So Rasheer Fleming is officially the pick for the Phoenix Suns. Okay, so Rasheer Fleming, the eval. I see him as more of a big than a wing. Would you agree with that or no?
I have always evaluated Rasheer Fleming as a forward, like a true 4-man. Sure. Here's where we agree. I don't think he's a wing that's going to go play the 3. I don't see him as much of a 5 as maybe you or others do. But I think that's a little bit of semantics at this point.
I see him as like a 4-5 hybrid.
Sure.
That's like, to me, the idea here is like, I would like to make him something like Bobby Portis if I was the Phoenix Suns. Like that would be my idea.
Sure.
Great play finisher. Hit 39% of his threes this year. Literally did not take a jumper off of the dribble this season, which is one of the craziest stats in this draft class. Very confident shooter, hops right into the shot when he gets an open look. Kind of a funky load into the shot. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit more. Doesn't really he'll attack closeouts in a straight line if it's wide open, but it's like not, it's not like the smoothest thing in the world necessarily. Great at running in transition, really sharp cutter. Defensively slides his feet really well. I should mention also really, really good finisher at the rim, 69% at the rim this season, 67% in the half court as well. Defensively slides his feet really well, in my opinion, has some potential to guard in space. It's the feel for the game stuff. He doesn't really pass it super well. I think he doesn't instinctually rotate around the court super well. Last note would be great intel reports. I've heard really, really good kid, really, really nice kid, but where are you at on Rasheer Fleming, Bryce?
Yeah, you said a lot. I know the off the dribble stuff, jumper thing. I understand why people could see it as a negative. When I watch Rasheer Fleming, I'm just like, this is a kid that understands his role. He understands who he is, what he does. I will also point out, I'm not trying to throw shade at who he played with there, but he was the 4th option most possessions. His guards were trying to get theirs, and he just picked up the scraps. And if they decided they wanted to pass, then he would make himself available in the corner. That's not always easy mindset. So I appreciate that he shot the way he did in that situation where he never knew when he was going to get a shot or not.
Yeah.
I think he'll be a good cutter. I think he'll be a good offensive rebounder. My thing defensively is I think the upside is real. You're going to see the measurements, you're going to see the athletic profile, and people are going to get excited, and they should be. I will say He's got room to grow, though. He's real heavy-footed on his closeouts. He kind of jump stops into his closeouts. He goes for shot fakes a little bit too much. I think he's going to be a good defensive playmaker early in his career. And then as he rounds out those fundamental, foundational things on the defensive end, he'll become even more of an impact. I love the value here. And considering he's not a shooting guard or a center, I think this is awesome for the Phoenix Suns because they could use anything that wasn't those two positions.
Yep, agree. And this is like an actual important position, I think, by the way, for them to get.
Sure.
I think that we're up here with the Celtics potentially. Is Mark Tatum coming to the stage? Let's see. The Celtics are trading number 32 to the Orlando Magic for 46, 57, and a 2026 second rounder. I think that I might have texted you that it felt like this was a potential, like they might move this pick thing before we went live. Yeah, I mean, look, it's been a real thing here that these picks have been on auction this morning. That's absolutely real. And here we are. We're here, and it's now going to be Orlando's pick at number 32. Interesting team. I'm interested to see what Orlando does here to give up a couple of seconds. I like that they give up 46 and 57 here. Oh, they actually gave up 4. Oh, wow. They gave up 4 picks. So 46, 57, a 2026, and a 2027 second rounder in order to get up to number 32. Who do I think that Orlando likes here?
More shooting? Like we talked about this. Obviously, you know, they went with Jace Richardson at 25 last night. So, I mean, if they went more shooting, what are our options here? I mean,
Cam Jones, maybe.
Tyrese Proctor. Like, I mean, he can shoot a little bit.
I bet it's Proctor.
Okay.
That'd be my guess.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess it's Proctor, actually. Yeah. We'll see here. Mark Tatum is at the board. Let's see. Mark Tatum, the icon, the legend. Noah Penda. Good call, Bryce. I'd heard Proctor worked out pretty well in Orlando, is why I said that. Noah Penda. This is now my top player.
Yep, mine too.
Off the board.
Nice.
Right now, we only have Ryan Kalkbrenner and Maxime Reynaud in my top 30 available. Why do I like Noah Penda so much? 6'8" almost without shoes, nearly 7-foot wingspan, 8'11" standing reach, huge hands, 242-pound frame that he carries well, huge, like looks like a bear out on the court. You know, has a low center of gravity, plays with a lot of bend, really good defensively, anticipates actions really well. High-level defensive playmaker, averaged over 2 stocks per game, can gamble a little bit, but generally rotates really well and effectively because of the anticipation. Really good low man on the weak side. And I think he has some potential as a switchable defender too. You know, quicker guards can catch him occasionally, but by and large, I think he's pretty good dealing laterally with guards. The key is the offense. He's a great passer. Like a really, really high level passer for his size. Yeah. And I just love the feel for the game. He plays as almost like a point forward. The key is going to be the shooter or the shooting. Does he shoot it well enough to be able to make this work?
Yeah. Just shameless plug here over on the Motor City Hoops Substack. I have video breakdowns of both of these guys. I know it got out to Celtics fans, the Hugo Gonzalez one, and people tuned into that. I haven't heard any negative feedback, so I assume it was positive stuff. So go check that out. I'm tweeting it out on my timeline, just sharing that stuff over there. Really interesting in Penda, right? Like just the body type, the frame, the strength. I like these type of players, Sams. We talked about it, right? After the finals, after the playoffs. Can you hold your line offensively? Can you hold your line defensively? He has the physicality to do that, along with a really, really fun offensive skill set, especially if he knocks down jumpers.
If he knocks down jumpers, he is definitely a rotation player in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like I feel very confident of that. Even without the jumpers, I think there's like a world where a team can like get him to fit into a scheme in a way that is pretty fun. But if he shoots, he's like a really, really, really valuable player, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I like that Orlando just keeps adding these really good feel players, right? Like this is why I like Tristan da Silva last year, like playing off of Franz,
Jace
playing
Richardson.
off of Paolo. Like these guys are going to be good cutters. They're good offensive rebounders. Again, the shooting, they got to be able to knock down shots to keep the floor spacing. But I like that it seems like Orlando has identified a type and have stuck with it. And I appreciate that about teams. And Penda makes a lot of sense here. I like this.
I also like this pick. I think he's a really, really good basketball player. I'm a big fan. I'm a big Noah Penda fan. Again, by far the best player remaining on my board personally. I had him at 21 this year. There were times where I had him like even a little bit higher. I kind of moved him down just because I was a little bit worried about the frame long term. Like he's going to have to be pretty intentional about keeping his frame the way it is right now, as opposed like most people get bigger as they get older, right? That's the reality of things. He's going to have to be very intentional at kind of keeping this thing, as in shape as humanly possible. But that and the shot like kind of gave me some worries, but I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I am a really, really big fan.
At 32, this is awesome, right? Like, I mean, if Orlando took him at 25, I wouldn't have like crushed that. Like maybe with Jace on the board, we wouldn't have liked it, but I mean, this is really good value. This is why these first few picks were exciting for me. And I assume we're going to continue to get these guys off the board. And then I think people will be able to hear our tone change just a little bit. It's not going to be like negative, but it's just not going to be quite the same level of excitement. And Sam, I think that's maybe why we're seeing like the amount of draft capital it's taking to come get these picks.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
Because I thought Boston could have used one of those two bigs real quick. Like, I mean, I'm a little surprised Boston didn't say, no, we're good. We'll take Maxime Renault or Ryan Kalkbrenner. Like, and so you got to get him out of there if you want to go get your guy.
I'm wondering if Boston does this all the time. They are among the most active second round teams typically under Brad Stevens. I'm wondering if their idea here is that, okay, we now have 46 and we have all these second rounders that we can use. Maybe we use, 46 and number in the 2026 second that we just got to move up to 39.
Sure.
If Kalkbrenner or Renault are there and we move up to get them and we kind of get the best of both worlds, wouldn't stun me to see them kind of slide back up if they feel like one of their guys is falling.
Sure. I mean, I'm just glad we have like Twitter and everything now to keep track of who these picks actually are. I mean, I remember at one point it was like just impossible to, especially the second round, to try to figure out exactly who was going where.
Yep. I mean, the first few years that we did this show, either with Penny or Spinella or me and you, like, I mean, it was a shit show. Like it was an absolute disaster. I will say this too. I had real questions about the 2-day draft when it started. I like it. I'm a fan. I'm into it.
Well, here's why I'm a fan. I was tired this morning, Sam. I had to get up at 5 this morning, and I hadn't eaten supper whenever we signed off the live. So my energy level was waning, and I have way more energy for this second round right now than I would have at 11 o'clock last night when we would have started. I assume the draft would have started an hour earlier if they were going 2 rounds, but still.
We have number 33, and it is a pick that basically everyone across the NBA has known it was going to be for a while. The Charlotte Hornets have selected Sion James. I got told like 2 weeks ago that this was going to be the pick, in all honesty. And like, it was just kind of known league wide that they really liked Sion James. When I heard that somebody was coming up to 32, I didn't know if Orlando liked Sion James, but I thought that if somebody was coming up to 32, it might be for him, just to jump Charlotte. Sion James is a really good basketball player. Full disclosure, I tried to make some changes to the top 100 rankings yesterday on my board. I mentioned this yesterday with Trey Johnson. I tried to move Sion up to 31 on my board. I'm just kind of a believer. I think that he's a real defender, 6'4.5" without shoes, 6'7" wingspan, 220-pound frame, just like incredibly strong, great intersection of NBA athleticism and strength. Great defender. At the 1 and 2, very disruptive, physical, powerful, has no problems getting into guys' space, no problems with switchability, gets through screens pretty well. Like he fights through them. He will have some minor like flexibility things where he gets bumped and it kind of takes him off of his line, but he's really good as a trail defender. Off the ball, rotates super well, knows exactly where he's supposed to be. Offensively, moves the ball super quickly, played like kind of the Alex Caruso-y role for Duke this year, I would say. Now, I think that the offense is worse than Caruso, and I think the defense is a little bit worse, honestly. But that's like the idea of the player you're getting here, stylistically, is a ball mover who can occasionally knock in shots. Not really a guy that I trust to like drive the ball consistently, but cuts. If he has an open lane, he will drive. He's comfortable enough with the ball in his hand to do it. I am generally a fan of Sion James, and I think this is a really, really good pick here.
Yeah, I agree. I like this for Charlotte, like investing in some defense. We talked about this at the top of the draft for them in terms of like whenever we would mock VJ Etchcombe to them, it's like, hey, let's put in a defender. I'm not saying Sion James is going to come in and start. I definitely don't think that's going to be the case, but just an influx of energy. So you've really brought in some floor spacing for a team that could use that in Con Knipple and Liam McNeely. And then now you're going to add Sion James in terms of the defense. If he can knock down shots, I want to just make sure something's clear here, because I think he gets labeled as a point guard. You do not think he is like a primary initiator, break down the defense in that way necessary for the NBA level? Or do you think he could do that in a second unit role?
I think he's more of an off than he is a point.
I agree. I just wanted to make that clear because like I just feel like sometimes people look at the height or like what the position is at, you know, if you look at his Duke, I don't know what Duke's profile website says or whatever. That's how I look at him as well, is like you need to play him with a LaMelo Ball or whoever that is going to play with the ball in hand, really create, and then he plays off of them offensively and then makes their lives easier defensively because he takes all of those matchups.
Yeah, and with Sion as well, the other thing I will note here is Charlotte has clearly prioritized getting super high character dudes.
Sure.
Con Knipple, Liam McNeely, Sion James. Like Sion James has like a foundation that he has to like help, you know, kids like in the area where he grew up, right? With like getting into sports and things like that. Like Liam McNeely, crazy competitor, like really going to max out whatever he can be because that's just who he is as a human being. Con Knipple, crazy competitive character, crazy worker. Like that, it is very clear to me that Charlotte in this draft, above all, has prioritized going to get really, really high character, high work ethic, you know, second, third effort guys that are going to be able to lift the level of their team overall. And I love it. Like these are I genuinely strongly believe in this Jeff Peterson led front office. Like I think that these guys know what they're doing. I think they are really good at this.
Yeah, I mean, this is a draft I like right now, Sam. We talked about it at the top. It was one I mentioned there, and this is a pick that I support, like, agree with, and makes a ton of sense. So I think they've done a really nice job with this draft.
Yep, agree. Do we have? So like, I was kind of anticipating that they might move one of these picks, 33 and 34. It's hard to have 4 rookies on your roster. I mean, like Markovich is the best stash right now. Yeah, I'm interested to see what they do here. We'll get to some super chats here. Shout out to Gregory Mason. You guys are awesome. Sam, you were my editor back in the Upside and Motor days. How do you eval whether a great practice shooter will actualize their potential in actual games at some point?
Great question, Gregory.
It's a great question. I would say that mechanics are super important to me. Having like a strong foundation. Honestly, the way the ball comes out of your hand is important to me. I mean, like, just does it come out of the hand softly? Do you shoot kind of a hard ball? Like Matisse Thybulle, I think, is like a really high level worker and like great high character human being. I've just kind of always thought he shot like a really hard ball, right? Even going back to when he was in Washington, even like the Washington days, right? I mean, I tend to really go by the results in games too, because I want to know what it's like under the bright lights for these guys as much as anything. I mean, Bryce, do you have anything there? I mean, you were the shooter here, so we should give your take.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was just gonna say the mental aspect of it, the emotional aspect of it, and this is, I always tell people like this. Hopefully, this is the most arrogant I'll ever sound, but like, I'm a whenever I'm just in the gym, like on my college team, I played with some big time players, and whenever we played shooting games in practice, whatever, I was as good as anybody. Like I feel pretty strongly about how good of a shooter I am in terms of the world. Like I'm not like Steph Curry, whatever, but in games I was very average. Like you can go look at my real GM page and it's not that impressive. And it was a mental thing. Like I tell people all the time, like it just mentally, my confidence was not as good. My mechanics were fine. I shot the shit out of it in practice and shooting games, whatever. But my confidence waned up and down. I questioned what my shot selection should be, those type of things. And so I never actualized it in games. So I trust everything you said, believe in everything you said, but ultimately it comes down to the individual and their confidence, emotions, etc. as well.
So the Charlotte Hornets have made this pick. They have selected Ryan Kalkbrenner.
Let's go.
Out of Creighton.
Starting center for Charlotte right now.
I think there's a chance he's the best center on the roster, and I'm not joking when I say that. All due respect to Moussa Diabate, who I think had a great year last year. I really like Kalkbrenner quite a bit. I had a first-round grade on him. 4-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year, elite rim protector. Just for reference on this, before his arrival, Creighton coach Greg McDermott had only one top 45 defense in his previous 18 years as a college basketball head coach. Per pivot analysis, Creighton finished in the top 25 in adjusted defensive rating in all of Ryan Kalkbrenner's final 4 years at Creighton. When he was in the game, basically team shot like 45% at the rim versus 54% at the rim. Creighton was 10 points better 100 per 100 possessions defensively when Kalkbrenner was on the court. Just an absolutely fantastic defensive player, great in drop coverage, really organizes his defenders well as a backline captain, I think. Great play finisher, made 76% of his rim attempts in the half court this season. They often used him in post situations too, and he was effective there. NBA teams won't do that. Made 77% of his 2-point attempts out of ball screens this year, or last year, and then 71% of them in his 5th year. And took 61 threes this year and hit 35% of them. So this is a real player to me. I had a first-round grade on Kalkbrenner. I feel very good about him at least being a rotation player in the NBA.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this is a really nice pick for them, especially a team that needs size after trading Mark Williams. I don't know that you want to go into the season with this truly as your starting center, but this at least gives you a backup option. I want to touch on 2 things. You're a bigger fan than me. To be clear, I still have him as a potential first-round pick. Like you're just a touch higher. What do you think the chances of him spacing the floor are, and how long till it gets there? And defensively, is there some versatility outside of being just an anchor drop coverage defender? Like, can he play off the ball and rotate and protect the rim? Can he play at the level? Is he going to be able to hard hedge and blitz things? Like, is there a little bit of versatility there, Sam? You are now muted. I am wearing off on you. I apologize.
I did it. My goodness. Okay. I think he's mostly a drop anchor big for the most part. I would anticipate that if he gets caught on an island in ball screens, I think he's okay in recovery, but I do think that guards can leverage him in a way. And I would really want guards like Sion James who like fight and scratch and claw to get back in front. Right. I think that's like a critical part of if you're going to have a defense with Ryan Kalkbrenner at the end of the day. But the cool thing is that I actually kind of like the combo of him and Moussa Cisse because they kind of do very different things defensively. Like Moussa is kind of havoc defensively and can do a lot of different coverages. Obviously Nurkic is there, but like, Nurkic isn't going to be there for long term, right? Yeah. Maybe he does start this year, but It's not going to be he's not the answer there long term, right? With Kalkbrenner, in terms of the shooting, I don't know. A big thing with him is like, did you feel like he could occasionally wear down in games at times?
Yeah, I can see that. Like you could just tell. No, I feel like he played big minutes though, which I always appreciated about bigs, right? Like that was one of my questions about Klingon coming out was like, okay, how many minutes is this guy going to play when he's only playing this many minutes in college? But I will be honest, Sam, like this is probably going to end up being a lesson learned for me. The athletic profile is just a little awkward for me. Like I feel like
it is.
He moves a little awkward. It's not always smooth, and
it's typically the kind of guy that I don't like.
Yeah, because you
more than Yeah.
You more than me talk about athletic fluidity and smoothness of that stuff. And it's just, I don't think he has that. I'm not saying it's a death sentence to his career. It's just that stuff doesn't normally stand out to me. And this is a kid I saw in person last year, not this season, but the year before. And it stood out to me when I was watching him there in person. I think he's going to be a really good backup big. Like, that's where I'm at on him. I think this is a great pick.
Yeah, I think he's going to be like, the name that I've used for him for the last 2 years is, I think he's going to be like a Luke Cornett kind of big.
Love it.
You know what I mean? Like, Cornett was another guy, by the way, that people, when he came in, thought like had a chance to really shoot it out of Vanderbilt, right? And it ended up not happening. Honestly, I think Kalkbrenner doesn't really have to shoot it to be effective in the NBA, is kind of why I like him. And again, for Charlotte, another thing I will note, high character kid, works hard. Like, I think he is now married, if I remember correctly, like good human being, quiet, like just kind of goes about his work. Right. So I'm a believer in Kalkbrenner for sure. We have 35. We have Philadelphia. I don't think we have a trade. Mark Tatum is at the dais, and they have taken Johni Broome. Okay.
Interesting.
Cool.
Okay.
So Johni Broome, I had him at 40. They've taken him at 35. This feels very Daryl-y to me, to be honest with you, to take Johni Broome. Daryl Morey, who's the GM or the president of basketball ops of the Philadelphia 76ers. High-end performers like really tend to pop for him in some way, shape, or form. And Johni Broome, 19 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists versus only 1.5 turnovers. Just kind of a guy who is an ass kicker in college basketball. He's one of those dudes who's just always been good at whatever level he's played. He was great at the combine. He was 2 years ago. He was great at Morehead State, transfers up to Auburn, becomes an All-American. Like, he's just tough. He's physical. He's strong. There are some flaws here, and I'm sure we'll talk about them, but being able to like anchor to your spot in the way that he does is really impressive.
Yeah, I'm interested to see like how much of the scoring translate. Like, honestly, Sam, how much all of this stuff translate? Because I just talked about like athleticism with Ryan Kalkbrenner, and it's not Kalkbrenner. It's not that like he can't move. It's a little bit awkward and funny. Like, Broome just isn't a great athlete, like just straight up. And so will that limit some of the defensive disruption we saw in college and his ability to do those things? I think he'll be a good positional defender. I think he'll be very smart in the way he stays in front and positionally. I think we talk about like these, players that have solid builds, like they can play with their chest and take contact and hold their line. I think Broome has that physical build to do those type of things. I'm just interested to see where like the offense lands. Like, well, what does that end up being? Can he step out and shoot it? And now he can play the 4 a little bit more. Is he going to have to play the 5? And then how concerning is that? Because he's not like going to be a lob threat or anything like that if he's operating in ball screens. So while he has very, very productive numbers and you're like insane rebounds, stocks, positive assist to turnover, all of that stuff, I'm just a little bit interested to see how it ends up playing out.
I am too. I mean, look, like, I like that he can pass. I like that he can play in dribble handoffs. I like that he can play in a lot of different circumstances, but he does have like a very limited offensive game on the interior, I think, where it is, okay, I'm just going to like put my right shoulder into you and try and like get to the left hand little mini hook. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So the Lakers have moved up to 36, by the way, while we're talking. So that's just worth noting here.
Okay.
So this pick has been traded from Brooklyn to Phoenix to Minnesota to the Lakers today. Now.
And LA had made a move earlier today to even put themselves in this position, correct?
Yeah.
Like they got up to 40 something.
Yeah. I'm interested to see who they take. I wonder if this could be Thiero or Reynaud, or it could. I'm going to guess. This is a total guess because I haven't done a whole lot of Lakers intel this year. I'm going to guess Thiero, to be honest, but we shall see. With worth finishing with Broome real quick. it's just like kind of a strange game because he's a bit undersized, right, for the position, and we'll see where it goes. It's a very Philly pick, but Mark Tatum is out here now with this Lakers pick now. Number 36. It is Adou Thiero from the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Interesting.
John Calipari's first player drafted this year. The latest that has happened in, I think, like 15 years, honestly. You give me thoughts on Thiero while I pull up my thing.
Yeah, so this is I say interesting because I think he's a versatile defender, and I think he's a defensive, like a versatile defender and play finisher. I think he's gonna be. I say interesting because I think I would have valued floor spacing shooting if I was the Lakers.
Correct.
I do understand them valuing defense on the wing. So I get it. I don't love it. I would have valued some shooting and floor spacing a little bit more. I think I'm a little lower on Adou Thiero than others are, Sam. Crazy athleticism, but he can't shoot. Gonna be offensive rebounder. What is the role though? Like, he's gonna play the 4 and just like cut and move and offensive rebound, get out in transition. How does this play off of Luka, I guess, is what I'm trying to get to.
So yeah, that's kind of my question with this for the Lakers too. I like the player. I had him at 31. Unbelievable frame for an NBA wing. Like 8'8" standing reach, 7 foot wingspan, 6'6" without shoes, right? Unbelievable athlete, like incredible blend of explosiveness and power, rises up to throw down dunks, like incredible vertical pop off of 2 feet. Has dealt with injuries an awful lot in his career. That is one thing that NBA teams like noted to me pretty regularly, that he's dealt with injuries quite a bit. Excellent defender. I think he's great on the ball. I think he has awesome lateral ability. Can stay in front of defenders, very switchable, keeps his hands high at all times, does a great job cutting off angles. Always took the toughest wing assignments for both Arkansas and Kentucky the last 2 years. No issues going 2 through 4 in the NBA. I think he's going to be able to defend ones. It's just the offense, like you said. Has never really shot it. Only made 47% of his half-court layups this year.
Yeah.
The good news is he's so athletic that he's often dunking, so it's like a little bit less important with him than it is for others, but still matters, absolutely. Look, all the threes that he took this year are standstill threes. Only made 28% of them. The release is actually like okay. The ball's a little bit in front of his face, I think. And it's just like a little bit like a rhythmic, a little bit coming from the lower half to the upper half. But I do wonder if there's some upside there. The idea here is, well, and I'll ask you this question. I thought that he was like just that one level below the Thompson twins athletically.
Okay.
Like,
yeah,
not quite their level, but just the next tick down. You know what I mean? Where are you on that? Like, how would you think about them as compared to Thiero athletically?
Oh man, people are gonna hate. Yeah. So I said, what is the NBA role? And the Thompson twins were one of the things I mentioned because like the Thompson twins are always going to be the answer for guys who can't shoot but are uber athletes. And my bigger thing, the difference is not only are they better athletes, I think they also, like, a min especially has better feel for the game. And so like, yep. I think there's a difference there. And then I'm like, is he the level? So here's another comparison. I think Tari is a better offensive player. But like, is he the level of defender of Tari Eason? Like, do you think as prospects, he's the same level of defender?
They're a little bit different. Tari was more of like a bully. I think Tari's like stronger and is more able to like just physically like knock you off of your line. Whereas Thiero's like a little bit more, I am like quicker and going to beat you to spots. And like, he's like almost a little bit better of a guard defender. Whereas like Eason's more of like a big, like wing and forward defender, I think. So like, just like slightly different to me, but still good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's like, those are the names I went through. And then I like ended on like, does he end up just being Hamidou Diallo? You know, like, cause Hamidou is like the name that scares me for this archetype of player. And so, And like I watched the end of Hamadou's career in Detroit, and like kind of like they were awful. Oh my god awful. But it's like I kind of like some of the stuff he does, but it just NBA teams didn't value it enough. To be clear, I don't think this is a bad pick from the Lakers in terms of like I had Thiero in my top 35. So I don't think this is bad value. I just wonder if this is the type of player they needed to prioritize, or if they could have done something different with some floor spacing or something like that. Now, maybe they like the cutting off of Luka and those actions, and then there's no question they could use the defensive impact he's going to bring.
I think the difference for me between Thiero and Diallo, and I like Thiero more for what it's worth.
Sure.
Diallo,
Yeah.
Is the frame. Like Diallo was always
that's a great point, Sam.
Incredibly thin and skinny, whereas I find Thiero like stronger and more physical.
That's a good point. I bet he's taller too, because I said like Hamadou needs to be able to play the 4 at like whatever he was listed. Adou Thiero probably can play the 4, right? Like, I mean, or much, especially in second units, right? Like, you're not drafting Adou Thiero to be the starting 4-man for the Los Angeles Lakers. That's a really good point. I think the physical frame and all of that probably lends itself to Adou being more successful than what Hamadou was. That makes a lot of sense. That's a very fair point.
Yeah. So, Bryce, we've got your Detroit Pistons up. I think that there's a pick that has been made.
It's been spoiled. Like, because it's my guy, everybody texts me.
I think it happened off screen, so I think it's actually been made.
Yeah.
It is the guy that I told you I think they're taking. It's Chaz Lanier.
Oh, people ruined it the opposite way for me. So people started texting me because Maxime was still on the board, so they just assumed Detroit was going to take him.
Yeah, no, I believe it's Chaz Lanier is the pick.
No, you're right. Yeah.
So
floor spacer,
Chaz Lanier. Talk about Chaz Lanier while I update the ticker on our bottom of the screen here.
Yeah. So again, quick shameless plug, video breakdowns on all of these guys. I'm tweeting them out right now over on the Substack. Almost every pick that's been made recently, I have a video breakdown on. Lanier, floor spacing, right? Shooting. Catch and shoot 3-pointers, almost 40%. The dribble jumpers were kind of like solid on volume from 2 and 3. I think he like is a 2-level floor like shooter. I think he can knock down threes, and then I think he can at least like shot fake 1-2 dribbles into a pull-up jumper. I'm not sure there's going to be like all the way to the rim stuff with Chaz Lanier. He's not like an offensive creator. He's not a defensive disruptor or anything like that. Maybe a little more athleticism than like this archetype. The funny thing is, like, it reminds me a little bit of Tim Hardaway Jr. And I know that's super easy because of where he's going right now. But I think the biggest thing that reminded me of watching his film is how quickly he gets his jumper off. And that reminded me of Tim Hardaway Jr. a lot. So I think defensively, it just has to be like, can you like defend in terms of being in the right position and getting rotational box outs and being engaged and communicating and those type of things, and then just fight like heck at the point of attack to not get attacked there.
Yeah, drilled 40.5% of his catch and shoot threes this year on just a totally obscene number of attempts. Real movement shooter. Took more threes off of screens this year than all but 4 players nationally. Took more shots off of screens this year than any player nationally at 40.6%. Hit 45% of his mid-range shots off of movement this year. Really sharp at relocating to dangerous areas. Drilled 44% of his spot up threes this year. Just a significant shooter for a team that needs some insurance in case some of those guys leave in free agency. We also have number 38 here, Bryce. This is Cam Jones. And Cam Jones is also going to San Antonio, it looks like. I don't think that pick has been moved yet, do we? No. Who has this pick? This is Indiana has this pick. Indiana has this pick, and they have taken Cam Jones. Chalk that one up for the mock draft that I did. I love that.
So this is 38 to Indiana, Cam Jones.
38 to Indiana. What do you like about Cam Jones?
Yeah, so like this season kind of took on like the playmaking role, and so showed a little bit of that where I feel like earlier in his career he had played more off the ball. Shot 41% from 3 2 years ago. That percentage went down this season, and that very seemed to me like a very high usage role. but averaged 6 assists to just 2 turnovers in that like primary creator role. Of course, he's from Marquette, so that position, that role was taken by Tyler Kolek previous year before. Sneaky, like average 4.5 rebounds. Like just the profile, the numbers across the board outside of like, do we completely buy the shooting? Because like the numbers this year are a little concerning. In a career 67% free throw shooter, even though he had a season, he had multiple seasons shooting darn near 40% on real volume. So I think I buy the jumper. Defensively, he is smaller, but I always like to bring this up with him as like a great communicator, like an incredible communicator for a perimeter defender.
So 37% on more than 800 3-point attempts in his career. Definitely gets streaky. That is absolutely true. I love him as a driver, man. Like, I think he is one of the most polished drivers to the basket in this draft class. Uses the threat of his jumper incredibly well. Loves to get like pump fakes into different, like, and has like these little mini shot fakes to change direction and like change pace and get away from his man. They loved getting him downhill, coming off dribble handoffs to be able to get to the rim from that mid-range area, or to pull up from the mid-range area. Like, just relocates super well into 1 to 2 dribble pull-ups, can pull up going to his right or to his left. As a junior, made 67% at the rim at Marquette. As a senior, took 6 attempts at the rim in half-court settings per game and made 65% at the rim. Those are like ridiculous numbers for a guy who created a lot of shots at the basket in a real way. He is an outstanding finisher at the basket. I think I'm a little bit lower on the defense even than you are. I worry about the physicality a little bit with him on that end. But, man, I think offensively there's a lot to worry. There's a lot to be happy about here as long as he shoots it. And I think Indiana, their scheme is very similar to how Marquette plays. And I love the way that they play. Like, I love this fit here for Cam Jones. I think it's the exact kind of style that he should be going to play. Like, they take threes, but they are more than willing to, they space the court in order to open it up at the basket for their guys too. I think he will thrive in that kind of environment for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a really nice addition for them here in the second round to add to their style of play. I had him, in my top 40. So this is a really good spot.
Yeah. I like it. I like this a lot. We've got the pick in from Toronto. I assume Toronto still has this. Who knows really at this point, but Toronto does have this, I believe. They're up. The pick is in. Shout out Mark Tatum. He's up at the dais. He's talking. What do we got?
So we are at 39.
Oh, there it is. Alijah Martin.
Who is this?
So Alijah Martin.
No, who's picking? The Raptors.
Toronto Raptors. Yep. Another one for the mock draft. I love it. Let's go.
Look at you, Sam.
So Alijah Martin had an amazing workout in Toronto that I won't share all the details of, but was significantly outplayed the player that he was going against, is what I was told. Was fantastic. This is a player that, from what I understand, like Masai Ujiri has really had interest in for a little bit of time here. One of my favorites in this class, though. I have a top 40 grade on him. I had him at 37. He goes 39. I'll take this one to start here. Just an amazing blend of power and athleticism, and completely changed the tone of Florida on defense this year. He was the second best player on a national title team this year. People will bring up Alex Condon. People will bring up Tommy Houck, but Alijah Martin is the biggest reason outside of Walter Clayton that they won the title this year. He completely changed their entire tone on defense with his physicality, with his aggressiveness at the point of attack. And it's very clear with Colin Murray-Boyles and with Alijah Martin that they are trying to set a tone on defense in Toronto. Now, Alijah Martin is also a 6'2" off guard, basically. But the reason I like him is because he is super strong. He is super physical. He's a former football player. Like, that's a real thing. He is powerful. He is built like a freaking strong safety. And he is able to get around screens. He's a flexible athlete. He's incredibly explosive as a dunker. I thought it was a joke that this dude didn't make all defense in the SEC. He's so strong, has a super low center of gravity, guards like up the lineup incredibly well for his size, transitions defense to offense incredibly well. And he took nearly 900 3-point attempts in his career and made them at a 36% clip, right? Like, it's not like he's an amazing 3-point shooter or anything, but he's a pretty good shooter. So I am a big fan of Elijah Martin. Do you have any thoughts here?
No, I mean, I'm with you as well. 3-and-D off-ball guard, fourth guard, something like that. Like, really defend that physical build. This is another one of those guys we talk about in terms of, like, if the game is going to be physical in the NBA, if it gets physical in the playoffs, hold your line, especially defensively with Elijah Martin, a physical downhill driver. You touched on that as well. Not a creator, but a good ball mover. I like it. Like, this is at 39, adding some defense for the Raptors off the bench, especially if he knocks down shots, is really interesting.
Yep. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I am a big Elijah Martin guy. One of my favorites in this class for sure. If you made, people have asked me like who my Cam Spencer is in this class. Elijah Martin would be up there for me. This is a big one. This is a good player. Some questions here. How do draft trades work materially from Sheboogin? Like, are all teams on a group chat talking about what they want to do? No, that is not how they work. Teams will call, people that they know on other teams, right? Like, some organizations do it where on draft night, for instance, where everyone knows it's super busy, they'll split it up. Like, assistant GM has 10 teams, head of whatever title you want to have has 10 teams, and you have to kind of talk through it that way. Other teams go directly through general managers, and then general managers will talk through. Sometimes you go general manager to general manager. Sometimes it's, again, like assistant GM to assistant GM, and then they run it up the ladder. Like, there are a lot of different ways that they get done, but it's not a big group chat. I will say that.
Yeah.
From Sheboogin, the Lakers lost to the Wolves because they lack defense and athleticism. This pick is an attempt to address that, perhaps. I do agree with that.
Sure.
I think that's a totally fair call. They do need more athletes. I just wonder if, like, I would have almost liked Elijah Martin a little bit more for them than Thiero, even though I have Thiero higher on my board, just because I think he's a better chance to shoot it, in all honesty. Sion James was gone, obviously. Yeah, like, I like the Thiero pick. Like, I'm not going to sit here and complain about it. I think it makes total sense to do it. I just think that the best way to build around Luka is like surround him with shooters and a rim runner, right? So
yeah, and I don't think that like the big was there like that. Arcades, like, I mean, you could take Rocco, but like that's way down the line if it plays out at all. Like Maxime would have been interesting, like to see what Luka would have looked like with the stretch big. But yeah, I'm fine with it. I know I kind of questioned it. Again, I think the value was perfectly fine with where I had him ranked. Maybe when I look back at who was available, I will be even more excited because maybe there wasn't that shooter floor spacer that would have made more sense. And like going all in on the defense and athleticism is something I understand for them.
Do we think this is actually the Pelicans picking? I think it is, right? I believe it's the Pelicans picking. I'm not 1,000% sure right now.
At 40 now?
At 40. I believe it's the Pelicans because they got this pick in the Washington deal with Jordan Poole and CJ McCollum. Got Mark Tatum coming out. Daniel Garrett asked Eric Gordon, best case scenario, I think in regard to Elijah Martin, just very different. Eric Gordon was always a great scorer, so I don't think that that's it. Maybe it could have been in regard to Chaz Lanier. I think that Gordon was just better on the ball, honestly. Okay, so Micah Peavy is the pick here for the New Orleans Pelicans. Yeah, sure. Good pick.
Some defense. Value some defense here.
Yeah, Micah Peavy's a great defender.
Yep.
I'm a fan of this. Also, Micah Peavy, not from the DMV,
but did
play at Georgetown this year, which is Troy Weaver coded to a T. Oh my God, that's amazing. We can never let Troy Weaver leave the NBA. Like we need this for the rest of our lives. I like this pick though, for what it's worth. Great size, 6'6" without shoes, shorter arms, but like strong 212-pound frame. I think he's really good on defense. Great on-ball defender. Showcases a great motor on every possession. Really like gets into defenders' space and like attacks their dribble. Arms extended, just miserable to play against. Very switchable. No problem dealing with anyone 1 through 4 in college this year. Really walls up well with his chest. I thought he was like pretty good in the backside on 2-on-1 situations. I think he's good at cutting off angles, really good anticipation on defense. Offensively, there are some worries, but he did make 40% of his catch and shoot threes this year. It's just worth noting that is like a incredibly massive outlier, number for his 3-point shooting.
So I guess I would say you can either look at it as an outlier season or just growth, right? And I guess if somebody wants to look at it as growth from one year to the next, sure. But when you just look at what he did at Georgetown this last year, you're like, why was this guy not a first-round pick if he was so good defensively and shot 40% from 3? It's because before that, it was 31%, 27%, a career 61% from the free throw line, because he also played on ball a little bit at Georgetown. I don't think that's his role. I think he's going to be a wing in the NBA. But yeah, the defense is super intriguing. A really nice intersection of athleticism, on, off ball, anticipation, active hands. I think it gives him the chance to be good fundamentally defensively as well as being disruptive. So, I mean, in terms of like here at wherever, 40, I'm fine with this for the Pelicans, because if he comes in and he shoots it, like if he shoots the ball the way he did this last year at Georgetown, this is a heck of a 3-and-D wing for the Pelicans.
Yeah, I think so. I do have some thoughts of like, was he just like the biggest bully this year? Because he's just like super strong and physical. And like you felt like he would just like out physical these dudes who were younger than he was in college basketball, right? Like there was a piece of that to his game. He turns 24, I think during summer league, basically. So definitely a question of, is this guy, was he just beating up on younger guys last year, basically? And as he gets to the NBA, like he won't have the same physical advantages, right? But, I had him at 46. It's right in the tier. I have no problem with them taking him. If he continues to build off of being the shooter that he became this year, I buy it. Like I buy into it well enough.
Sure. I think that's a really good, this is a position that makes a lot of sense. Like a position in the draft.
Taking him at 40 is totally fine. And, he will not be a issue for me when I write up my draft grades on the Pelicans. I will rate that one positively. I will say that. All right. 41. I believe we have Phoenix here, right? They have acquired this pick from Golden State in the middle of their trio of moves.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I've
Bryce
lost track. I've lost. I'm just counting on you to tell me the team and the player, and then we can talk about it.
Yeah. Bryce is hoping that I can keep track of this, and the whole ADHD thing is struggling.
I actually hope you just get lost in it, and we like just are throwing play. All of our analysis is just wrong.
We did that once last year. I can't remember who it was for.
Yeah, just 5 minutes of talking about how Micah Peavy finally makes a good selection for the Pelicans, and actually he's going to the Celtics. And just
for what it's worth, I'm going to guess this is Proctor. If you made me bet right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that this is going to be Tyrese Proctor.
Who are the best names, speaking of Proctor? So like my best names, best available, Maxime Renaud, Alex Tui, Jameer Watkins, Proctor, Shulga, Kobe Brea. Like, you have any other names?
Renaud is the only player left in my top 34. John Tonje, Tyrese Proctor, Alex Tui, and Renaud. Yeah, I have Renaud as well. Those are the only guys remaining in my top 41, actually. So, we're at a point here where this is good. Yeah. Wait, did somebody? I'm confused. What's happening here?
There we go.
We'll find out. So 41 is coming. VJ Edgecombe's on the screen, listening to Malika talk. Let's see. Let's go to some super chats. Shout out Sebastian. Are there any better defenders in the draft than Carter Bryant among the non-centers? I mean, I would say Cooper Flagg, to be honest, but like that'd be number one.
I mean, your guy, Johni.
I mean, yeah, Jemai Meshack, I think, is like one of the best defenders on planet Earth. It's just he can't offense. So
I mean, it depends on what you think CMB plays. I think CMB is a better defender than him.
I would also take Colin Murray Boyles over him defensively. Anybody else really?
Drake Powell. Is that a conversation?
Drake Powell has a case. Yeah, for sure. I think.
Hey.
I think.
Oh, never mind. He said non-centers. I was going to make a joke, but it wasn't going to hit.
Yeah, I think Elijah Martin is a really good defender too. I don't know if he'd be quite as high upside, but yeah.
I've had people throw Jameer Watkins as like a big time defensive potential at me. I know we're like, I assume we'll get to talk about him later, but like, are you that high on his defense?
Jameer Watkins? It's not bad. Yeah.
Okay.
So Kobe Brea is the pick here at 41.
And this was, who'd you say? Phoenix,
I believe.
Okay.
Which means they have taken another like shooting guard.
Perfect. You can't have enough. You can't have too many. Right?
A lot of shooting. Okay, so I don't mind the player. I want to start there.
Yep.
Let's give Kobe Brea some love. He's a genuinely historic shooter. Like that's not an exaggeration.
Not hyperbole.
Drilled 44% from three this past season, 91% from the line. But like that's honestly a low number. In his 5 years of college basketball, 43% from three on 730 3-point attempts. Over the last 2 years, 46.5% from three on 46.5 3-point attempts. Since 2000, the only players over 6'5" to hit at least 43% from three on over 700 career attempts while playing in a top 10 league in the country, which he did for the entirety of his 5 years. Sam Hauser, Ethan Wragge, shout out Creighton legend Ethan Wragge.
Oh, this was a trivia question.
Steve Novak, Jason Capono, and Kyle Korver. I mean, 4 of those guys had long NBA careers. These dudes, like, he is a lights out shooter. Like, there is no, this is no joke. Like, he is a real shooter. Does he do anything else is the question here.
No, I mean,
the answer can be no, because I think the answer is no.
Yeah. No, listen, no. I think with Kobe Brea, it has to be ball mover. Like, can you at least move, like catch, move the ball, do that? Can you attack a closeout? Because teams are just going to run him off the line. So you have to be able to attack a closeout with a shot fake, even if it's into a one dribble side 3-pointer, if it's a one dribble pull up jumper. And then defensively, you got to be able to hang.
You can do a little bit of that for what it's
sure,
worth. Like the one dribble, like pull-ups and everything off of relocations. He can do that, I think.
I have him on 48% on dribble 2-point attempts this last season, and they were similar at Dayton the previous year. Like, the Dayton 3-point numbers are unbelievable. He was 54% on all catch and shoot 3-point attempts at Dayton that year, and almost 60% on unguarded catch and shoot threes that last year at Dayton before he transferred to Kentucky. Like, this is a big time shooter, as you said. It's just like, can he be that big time? And then can he attack closeouts? Can he move the ball? And can he just survive defensively, Sam? Like, just survive defensively. And then the elite shooting can be played.
I think that's exactly the way to put it. Yep. This is the Sacramento Kings. I do not believe that this has been traded in any way, shape, or form. They are selecting. Let's see. Come on, Mark.
Oh.
Come on, Mark. Give me the pick. Maxime Reynaud.
Finally.
Bryce's guy. This is a good draft from Sacramento. I like this.
Yeah. I mean,
so I had Reynaud at 30.
Yeah.
For this person who asked earlier, like, does this change your opinion of the combine? Like, I mean, here's a great example. Reynaud was the best player at 5-on-5 in the combine because he was going against Michael Ruzich, but that's a different conversation. And here he slides to 42, right? Yeah. So give me the Reynaud scout because you like Reynaud a little bit more than I do even.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, I have him at 28, so it's not like it's just like but I love the offense. Like, I just think he's skilled. I think he has some creativity. I do worry about the vertical pop and physicality. This is a player where the skill has to be there because he's not going to do quote unquote true big man things, right? Like, he's not going to be a lob threat and all of that. But he does have legit size. Like, he's 7'1" in shoes. I don't give standing without shoe, whatever. I just add an inch or whatever. So I think he does that well. I think he can shoot it. I think he understands how to play off the ball. Like, this is a 5 that you can then do creative things with because he knows how to move on the perimeter and play in the corner and do all of that. Or you can play him in pick and pop, hit trail threes, like all of that stuff. And then defensively, like, there are real like movements, vertical pop, all of that. I do think what gives me hope that he survives defensively is length and understanding of position and using his hands. Yannick Conan Niederhauser has incredible length, Sam. And one of my biggest gripes with him defensively is you never notice it because they're always at his side. Maxime Renaud is the opposite, like not even close to the athlete that Yannick is, but Maxime Renaud knows what position to be in and how to use his hands and put them in passing lanes and stuff like that. So I think this is a tremendous pick in the second round and a really interesting, like, not only something the Kings need in terms of, well, I guess JV's there, so maybe they don't, but as a third center, he's something a little bit different than what they have.
Yeah. So took more pick and pop threes than any player in college basketball this season, attempting more than 2 per game. Didn't hit a ton of them, but like, he loves those little slide actions, those little slip screens into pick and pop threes. Takes them off relocations at a really high level, has that really slow release, but like, I mean, he's so big that, you know, for the most part, look, I mean, like, I do think release speed matters even for these guys on some level. I think he will have to speed it up. We saw that with Chet in the NBA finals, right? Where you do have to speed it up or else you will get closed out on.
Sure.
But spot up shooting is much better, gets better weight transfer through his base than, you know, like what he used to, right? Hit 44% of his spot threes. I really like the way he attacks closeouts for a big, puts the ball on the floor. He has counters in the way that he's able to do that. Really slick little like pump fake that gets guys off the floor. Not like a crazy athlete, but, you know, is very coordinated and fluid. Really good touch, has like a nice little floater game too. He hit 45% of his floaters this season, 66% at the rim. It's just all about the defense. Like, I'm very skeptical of the defense in the NBA. He's just very heavy footed. In drop, I didn't love his sense of timing. It felt like he get caught in no man's land like a little bit too often between the roller and the guard. The angles weren't always great. Scramble defense isn't great because he can be a little bit hoppy, and then like north-south, he can be a little bit funky. Someone asks, is he better than Tristan Vukcevic? I think yes, for sure, he's better than Tristan Vukcevic, who has played like NBA minutes the last couple of years for Washington. But, and again, I say this is a guy that I had at 30, right? So like, I am generally a fan of this, but I'm a fan of this because I am obsessed with shooting bigs.
Sure.
Like, I think every good team needs to have a counter that is a 5-out, like floor spacing unit. And I like him more as like a backup counter to what you have already, which is why I like this pick for Sacramento. Like, yeah, they have Valanciunas as their backup. They have obviously Domantas Sabonis.
Yeah.
But I do think that he's like skilled enough to play that role at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I think that's what people will know. Like, I wanted him in Detroit. It wasn't to replace Jalen Duren or to replace Isaiah Stewart. It was to just like give this awesome counter that those two guys don't provide. And so I think for Sacramento, that's maybe I just value what that role is more than the NBA. And that could be true, right? But I think it is nice for a team to have that switch up.
Yep, I would agree. This next pick is going to the Washington Wizards from the Utah Jazz. Who are the best players remaining on your board now that Reynaud is gone, Bryce?
Alex Tui, Jameer Watkins, Tyrese Proctor, Max Shulga, Kobe Sanders, Rocco, Tanji, Vlad Golden, Jemai Meshack. That is the territory we are in now.
We are fully... Wait, you ended up higher on Meshack than I thought you did.
I mean, he's
did I convince you a little bit here?
You talked me. I think the combination of just like, I mean, so he's at what, like 55, 56. It's just like, okay, if I'm there, I think the Lakers had 55. So I'll just use the Lakers as an example. I'm probably not now, but if I can take Jemai Meshack at 55 and just like bet on my player development to teach him how to shoot, like, sure, I'll do that at 55. I think maybe I'd be more interested in that than some other names.
Okay, so we have number 43, and it's a name that we mentioned earlier. It's Jamir Watkins going to Washington.
Nice. So Wizards, Jamir Washington. What is this, 43?
This is 43 going to the Wizards, Jamir Watkins. Watkins is my last like priority-ish two-way. I would imagine that's what this is. I would imagine this is, I don't know. It could be, I guess, a roster spot, but they have a lot of dudes. It'd be weird. Okay, 6'5" without shoes, enormous 6'11" wingspan.
Yeah.
I like him best on defense. I think that he's an impactful defensive player off the ball, covers ground really, really well with that speed and length. Very tough at the point of attack and in one-on-one matchups, keeps his chest in front of his man and doesn't allow them to go through, really holds his line well on defense. Creates a ton of action plays, 1.9 steals per game. As a junior, and then this past year in his fifth year, 1.2 steals per game. And then with Watkins as well, that defense transitions to offense. He's really good in transition.
Yeah.
Gets up and, grabs and goes on the break, wants to push in tempo. Not an efficient player though. Like he just, I don't think he shoots it well enough, and I don't love the way he makes decisions. So I had him a bit lower. Like I had probably 10 guys available that I would have taken over Watkins, but it's, not an unreasonable pick here.
Yeah, I mean, the catch and shoot numbers are interesting. Like he ended up at 35% on those. The dribble three-pointer, not there. Like he had to do a lot of on the ball that I just don't think is going to be his role. What's really interesting is like the rim finishing, like on layups, was just not good, below 50% in the half court. And, even 50% whenever you put it all together. He gets to he put pressure on the rim. I feel like he averaged a ton of free throws this season. Yeah, 7 and almost 8 free throw attempts this year at Florida State, and over 6 the year before. Of course, started his career at VCU. So, you mentioned the defense. I think that's got a real opportunity to be impactful. It's, we're into this range now where it's going to be a little bit repetitive, I think, with guys, Sam, because they're second round picks for a reason, right? There's a flaw somewhere, or a potential flaw. With Renault, it's okay, yeah, this offensive package is really interesting, but he doesn't do true big guy things, and the defense can be a question. With Jamir Watkins, it's defense is really interesting, defensive disruption. What is the offensive role for this guy that played a lot on the ball at Florida State last 2 years?
Yep. Daniel Garrett asks, what's the biggest upside swing left on the board for you?
Rocco or Rocco?
It's probably Rocco.
Tanji? No, he's too old.
Proctor would be up there for me. Bryce Williams is weirdly up there for me. Like he's just big and he can really shoot it. Like, I don't know why, like I kind of really like Bryce Williams, but I think Bryce Williams is like interesting in a way. But we're into the part of the draft where it's like all these older guys at this point, basically. If Victor Locken is able to stay healthy out of Clemson, I think he's like really interesting as a potential, backup big, honestly. I mean, like Dink Pate, I guess, but like I think that's so far away that it won't be the team that drafts him.
So I was gonna say Dink Pate just because like I think there's probably some truth to it, but I'm with you that it's probably not gonna be this team.
Okay, Oklahoma City is up. Mark Tatum is at the dais. We have got.
Hold on. You clown me all the time for how I talk. Say where Mark Tatum is going again.
At the dais?
The what?
The dais, isn't it? Isn't that what this is? Am I
What
losing
is
my
it?
mind? Oh my God. We got to come back to this conversation, Bryce.
What is a dais?
It's the stand where he talks.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think it's one of the words for it. more importantly, much more importantly here, have you seen who they have selected?
No.
Brooks Barnhizer out of Northwestern, baby. Let's go. This is God. My team, baby. Oklahoma City Thunder. Let's go. I had Brooks Barnhizer higher than anybody else in the public sphere this year, and I do not care who knows it. Monster frame. This dude's 6'5" with a 6'11" wingspan and 8'7" standing reach. Is a truck. He's 230 pounds, carries the weight super well, very sharp basketball player, just has great feel for the game, reacts well to what's happening around him, super high feel for the game, great defender, made to the all defense team at Northwestern in 2024 before he got hurt this year, understands where he's supposed to be all the time, helps the helper constantly, he's available on a string, great in 1-on-2 situations, unbelievable scramble defender. Great anticipation and recognition, knows where he's supposed to rotate as the pass is being made, uses his wingspan super well. On the ball, not that fast laterally, but like because he's so strong and holds his line well, great through his chest and torso, makes second and third efforts to get around screens. He's just like the ultimate fighter. Like if you put him into the Alex Caruso school of like, hey, let's learn how to defend. Yeah, this is my shit right here. Great passer, 4.2 assists versus 2.8 turnovers per game, reads court super well, makes early passes, hits guys early in transition. The thing is, like, he's not a great mover. Like, he's not like, he can be a little bit heavy footed. You know, most of his dunks come in transition. And then offensively, the jumper is a real issue here. Yeah. 27% from three this season, career 31% from three, kind of a two motion mess, like has a pause at the top. Look, this is where he's going to have to improve. If he shoots it, he's an NBA player. If he doesn't shoot it, he is nowhere near an NBA player, like is the reality. But he is a awesome defender that can really pass it and ticks all of the Thunder boxes, which is why I have him at 45. And much higher than like where everyone else seemed to have him.
Yeah, I mean, that's higher than me. I mean, I have him on my board. I have him like top 65, 60, something like that. I had someone throw a Jaime Jaquez comp to me with him. Do you see that at all?
Not really, but okay. I kind of love it. Like, all I get it. He played like a goofy, like mid-post game sometimes. So I do get that.
I literally have I hate the jumper in all caps with 3 exclamation points in my notes.
Look, it's bad. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's good. It's gonna, like, you are absolutely, it's a page 1 rewrite jumper. Like, you are going to have to fix the shit out of this thing.
Sure. You're right with like strong physical drives. He uses his body well, like all of that. Like I agree with all that. Strong positional defender. Think he's smart with his hands. I think he may be elite with his hands, like in terms of getting deflections and digs and some of those things. So I'm fine with this. I wasn't as high, but maybe I just couldn't get past the jumper.
To be clear, this is absolutely a two-way guy. It's just one of my favorite two-way bets, basically, is the thing. Like, because he can't shoot, it's absolutely a two-way guy. And my guess is that he's never going to shoot. But if he shoots, he's a very real rotation player in the NBA, is why I like the bet. Big Bronx Busta shot us a super chat and said, love the show, been a fan for years. Got to correct you though, Sam. Hollinger had Barnhizer 34, so I think he's got you beat. You know what makes me upset about that? I fucking told John about Barnhizer. I told him to watch him. And I knew that I know John. I think John is a very close friend. John and I talk like all the time. And I told him, hey, watch Brooks Barnhizer and like really dig in. I think you're going to love him. And there you go. So that's very funny that John ended up with him at 34. Very, very funny.
Love it.
So to get back to the important conversation here. So Americans say it as Deus, according to Stu. The other English folks like UK and Australia say it as Dias, which, you know, maybe you're going with that pronunciation.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's like the lectern that Mark Tatum is in front of. Or behind, okay. I'm sorry, speaking in front of.
How do you spell it? Somebody spell this for me so I can.
Dias. Or no, I'm sorry. Dais. I was right. We have a pick, by the way, and it's a good one.
All right. So you're right. Whatever.
Okay. So we have a pick. It's Rocco Zakarski. He's
Nice.
going to the Minnesota Timberwolves here at 45.
Interesting.
Look, very Minnesota Timberwolves pick. They like Matt Lloyd and those guys who evaluate up there. They love these projecty guys like Leonard Miller, who was also one of my guys, and Josh Minot, and now Rocco. They've also taken Baron J. So like double dipping on this is a little bit strange.
That's what I was gonna say, Sam. Like, is one of these guys not coming? Is Rocco not coming? Because Baron J is gonna come, I would assume. So
yeah, Baron J is definitely coming. So let's talk about Rocco real quick. So he's just like fucking massive.
Yeah.
7'3" without shoes, 7'5" wingspan. I know Rocco like a little bit. They've like I know him from being here. Like I've talked to him quite a few times. The biggest human being I've ever stood next to. Like just truly. An enormous person. Runs the court really well for being 7'3". He's willing to play physically. The thing I would say about Rocco is like, he knows the player he has to be. Like he has no problem like playing physically. He wasn't really strong enough to do it at the NBL level because he has like high hips and he struggles to initiate contact a little bit, but like, or he doesn't struggle to initiate contact. He struggles to like take bumps more than anything, but like he's willing to initiate contact. Great offensive rebounder, has a chance to be a really good rim runner. Has touch. Like I think that, you know, the numbers don't really bear that out, but like I think that he has a little bit more skill and touch than what we got to see this year. The Brisbane situation was just like a total joke, in all honesty. Like that, I have to just be completely transparent with that. It was really bad. Like they did no idea how to utilize them. The guard situation was a mess. Wasn't great. But he is a pure project at this point. Like even little details like how to close out onto shooters is a problem. Like positioning and drop coverage is a problem at times. Needs to improve as a screener. Like doesn't like pass at a super high level. Just has like a lot of work to do. Like this is a player that I think can be an NBA player for sure by the time he's like 25 or so. And if I was him, like I would have tried to have gone to college this year, in all honesty. You know, given that everybody seems to be getting eligible for college basketball. But I get the idea here of what's happening. Like I get the idea of what people think he can be. And with the right development, I think that he has a chance to do it. It's just like he's nowhere near ready for the NBA. Like honestly, I don't know if he's going to be an effective G League player next year. But it's like 3 or 4 years away from being effective.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you asked earlier, like, or somebody asked earlier, like the biggest upside swing, and this is the answer I gave. And it's just like the size is ridiculous. It's just so raw. But I think with that said, at 45, this is perfectly reasonable to take him now, right? Like if somebody took him, you know, in the first round, I would have had questions about that. But at 45, it makes sense. I wonder about like the, you know, developing both these guys and everybody just like Baron J is just so much further along. Like even though we kind of talked about Baron J being raw, we think he's much more ready to play as a backup big in the league than what Rocco is. And so they're not starting at the same level in terms of their developmental path with the Timberwolves. I'm comfortable with this. Like if you're a team that values this and uses this type of big man, having two in the pipeline that are on different stages of their path works for me.
Yep. I agree with that. Okay. So 46 is the Boston Celtics. They have selected Amari Williams out of Kentucky. And I'm interested in this. I was lower on Amari than most people, but I like the passing. I think he's a very genuine passer, average 3.2 assists per game. And some of those looks are just like truly absurd. Like some of the vision is ridiculous. Like finds backdoor cutters at the top of the key. Really, really good passer from the post. The thing that did like kind of give me a little bit of caution there is the fact that they all came from like a standstill for the most part. And most of the really good, like big passers tend to do things like on the move as opposed to being able to do it, from a standstill. But yeah, what do you think of Amari Williams?
I mean, I think that's what it is. Like, I think you're just buying into this, like he's lefty, strong, well built. And you're just buying into the passing. And like, is that going to be impressive enough to hold him through? He is very, very, very left-hand dominant. Like, always has to get back to the right shoulder, left hand. Averaged 8.5 rebounds in 23 minutes this last year at Kentucky. So, like, obviously can be impactful on the boards. The assist numbers are really impressive. Excuse me. I wonder how much the defense, like where that ends up being. Like, I'm not going to sit here and like go crazy about like a pick at 46. I have a lot of I don't have a lot of players. Like, he's a little bit lower on my board. Like, I saw a lot of people on like draft Twitter that this was like Noah Essengate was
guy.
Yes, Noah Essengate was the biggest draft Twitter top 5 guy. Amari Williams was the biggest draft Twitter first round guy that like I saw often in like top 20s and 25 and stuff like that. Like, I just never saw that with Amari Williams.
Yeah, interested. So the thing with me is that I don't think he moves well enough to be like effective. Like, Kentucky hemorrhaged 3-pointers this year. I thought largely because like they had to play quite conservatively with him on defense in order to hide him. Really good at the basket. Like, I think he does well around the rim. It's just that it's anytime he is caught on an island, it's a problem. Anytime that, he plays like pure drop. Like, it's not like he is we're going to slide out and kind of move around here. Like, he is we can like hedge, we can play at the level. Like, he's got to play and drop. And I thought that teams really hemorrhaged them on pick and pops, on pull up threes. Like, I thought that it wasn't ideal for him, I would say.
Yep.
But like interesting player to me. I thought he was like more of like a borderline 2-way 10-day. I would imagine he's a 2-way here.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, and if they're going to go big, like, okay with it. Like, I would have gone just like Vlad Golden, I think, if I wanted a big, but sure.
Yep. Fair enough. Okay. 47. Bogoljub Markovic goes by Bogey. What is your opinion on Bogoljub Markovic while I update the ticker?
Who is this? Who was this pick? You got to help me.
This is going to be the Milwaukee Bucks.
The Bucks. All right. So, the floor space, like the idea here is like a forward big that spaces the floor. Like, can he knock down shots? What is he going to be able to do? Like, 3-point percentage this last year. So he played for KK Mega. That's where Topic started last season before he moved to Red Star. Markovic, 39% from 3 on almost 3 attempts. Good from the free throw line. Average almost 7 rebounds. So yeah, like that is interesting here in the second round. I just like wonder, like, what does he end up doing defensively? I think he has to get stronger. I felt like he was just like getting bullied and move around at times. Didn't always love his positioning, but he was a very active communicator. He would do this weird thing off the ball where he'd like end up spinning in circles a lot, which drove me crazy. But like, I don't know that he's a huge defensive playmaker or anything like that. Like, I'll be interested if Sam thinks he can play some minutes at the 4. They also, like, all of the games I watched, they were playing a very heavy, like, hard hedge defensive scheme. So, like, that's all I got to see him do in ball screen coverages. But really, I think if you're taking him, it's like, hey, there's this skilled shooter that's 6'11", 9-foot standing reach. And, we talked about it earlier in terms of Reynaud, like, take a swing on this guy in the second round and see if it hits.
Yeah, probably like the most productive draft eligible player from Europe this year. 14.7 rebounds a game. Really versatile offensive weapon, multi-skilled, has like great height at the very least. Moves around the offensive zone at a high level, like really good at kind of drifting around shooters, great passer. He just like is really physically not there. Like, it's going to take quite a bit of time, I think, physically for him to get to that next level.
Yeah, I agree.
Number 48, Javon Small is going to the Memphis Grizzlies. So we are point guard you with the Memphis Grizzlies right now because we've got Ja Morant, Scottie Pippen Jr., Cole Anthony, and now Javon Small, right? Am I missing anybody?
No, but that is interesting with the with Scottie Pippen Jr. already there. So this is 48 to the Grizzlies, right?
It's 48 to the Grizzlies. Give me some Javon Small thoughts while I update the ticker and continue along this little project I'm on right now.
Yeah, this is another like just player that you see a lot of like draft Twitter, and I'm not saying that in a negative way. That just like I feel like gained some steam.
Why do you hate draft Twitter, Bryce? What's going on?
Stop. Those are my friends. I am very supportive. I literally I'm draft Twitter. I'm not employed by anybody, and I do draft content. So I am draft Twitter. I'm just saying that this is another player that I feel like people really started to like and talk about a lot. Just does a little bit of everything. Tough guard, super. Like I feel like when you watch him, when you talk to people, when you read stuff, like it's all the buzzwords with him. So like. High usage at West Virginia this last year. Shot 35% from three on 7 attempts. So like high volume 3-point shooting the last few years. He started at East Carolina, went to Oklahoma State 2 years ago, was at West Virginia this past season. You know, good creation numbers, rebounds a little bit for a guard. So yeah, like what is the upside with Javon Small? And like there is some size questions with him, but interesting player here, interesting fit in Memphis with, like you mentioned already, having the guards that they do.
Yeah, so like dynamic playmaker, right? You know, works his way into his pull up at a really high level. Nasty step back game. I think that was like the most impressive thing. Like he has a bevy of like crossovers and hesitations to be able to get to the step back. Not like a sudden ball handler going forward though. Think he uses pace really well in ball screens, you know, has complete control over the ball, has like a real tendency to try and get to the step back, but, you know, can get to the rim and finish, was effective when he got there. Obviously drew a ton of fouls, 5.2 free throw attempts per game. You know, makes plays as a passer, you know, 5.6 assists with a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. I like the way that they used off-ball action and dribble handoff sets to kind of get him moving and then be able to like find an open rim runner or anything. But like, he's more of a passer toward the basket as opposed to, you know, passer, you know, on kickouts and things like that. Like, I think the vision's like a little bit like interiorly focused. That's not a word, but we'll go with that. That's genuinely not a word.
I'm sure it freaking is. Like somebody's about to jump in the comments. Bryce, you're wrong. Sam is right. He's just making up words that we're putting in the dictionary on Thursday night.
Yeah. No, that's genuinely not a word. Didn't think he had a great answer in the mid-range, in all honesty, which I think that smaller guards do actually genuinely need as like a counter. I would imagine that this is a two-way at the end of the day. Like this is Memphis loves these guards that can come in and run their G League unit. I would imagine that's how they envision Small right now is like, we'll see what it is.
And to be clear,
I will also note just like defensively small, and I really didn't like his off-ball defense. You know, I thought that there was like a bit of a tendency to disengage a little bit, even like one pass away or like when he was like chasing screens.
And I just want to say, like, I am usually a very like bring up the value of having a guard that can run your G League team. So like if that's what this ends up being, like I see value in a point guard that can do that. Like is going to be there doing those things, creating for others. I value that with an organization for your G League.
Yep. So, okay, we have at 49 with Cleveland. Is this public yet? I don't know. I'm like trying to find if the Proctor pick. Well, I just said it. So
now I hope so.
Yeah, it's public.
Okay.
Yes, Tyrese Proctor's going 49 to Cleveland. So my impression on what happened here is that I think Cleveland is going to roster him. Cleveland has been expected to roster the player that they took at 49. So I would guess that the folks at CAA kind of like worked with them and said that they're like the teams above them that they won't accept a two-way. They'll take the tender and then he'd be able to get to Cleveland anyway. for a roster spot. So my guess is that they're going to roster him as a player here. So Proctor, good player that I actually like. He's my highest remaining player. I think him and Tanjay are the last two in my top 40 or 45 even maybe at this point. Shooting's the skill here. He's improved every year, 41% this past season. Great shot diet, consistently made 37 to 38% off the catch at Duke. This season took 75% of his attempts off the catch. Also drilled his jumpers off the bounce at a higher percentage this season. Just a real driller off the bounce is the thing. And as a shooter is the key skill here. Very, very good shooter. Can act as a secondary playmaker. Yeah. I think he's not a good enough athlete, not a good enough ball handler to be a primary at this point. I think that's kind of what we've learned here. But I do think he can be a secondary who can run ball screens and make good decisions and be able to make reads. Only averaged 1.3 turnovers this year. He's an effective team defender. He's just very skinny, and I tend not to love these guys that are super skinny is the problem. Doesn't have much rim pressure. Only took 55 attempts at the rim this year, playing more off ball consistently. Made 51% of his attempts at the rim, which is not a great number. Didn't all of his off ball shots. I felt like were in sets. And I thought he's pretty good in those, but you didn't see a lot of active relocation and things like that from Proctor in a way that was worrisome. So taller, but skinny, works hard defensively, but doesn't really hold his line all that well defensively. If he gets stronger, I think he has a chance to play in the NBA. I don't mind him. He was, I think, my last guaranteed contract grade. So I like this for Cleveland to give him a guarantee, but I think this is totally solid and fine for me. If you're Cleveland.
Yeah. No, I like this for Cleveland here. I had Tyrese Proctor at 40 on my board. And so he was one of the kind of the last players I had in terms of that I was a fan of in terms kind of excited about. I am a little bit worried about the frame. I thought maybe that's why he was dropping. It reminded me a little bit of Trey Alexander, where I like Trey Alexander's game, but just you worry about the frame a little bit. And
it's a very good comp to Trey Alexander, in my opinion.
And kind of the same stuff is okay, is he actually off ball? No, or excuse me, on ball? No, he needs to probably go play off ball. Defense is interesting, but again, you're going to hold up at the point of attack whenever you get bumps and those type of things. So like you said, shooting has to be awesome, and then he's just got to put some strength and weight onto that frame.
Can we just talk about the fact that Spike Lee is one of us? He's a sicko.
Wait, what?
This man is at the second round of the NBA draft.
Let's go. Oh, because the Knicks have a pick. Is this now? Are they up? Are they up?
They're up. He's literally in the building for their second round pick. What a absolute sicko. I love it so much. Good for Spike Lee, man. I'm excited for highest to lowest this summer. So shout out to him.
I wonder who our guy GMAC wants right now.
Yeah, let's see. So the Knicks have moved back one spot. The Clippers are here. The Clippers are taking, I think, Kobe Sanders, it seems like. Yeah. Kobe Sanders. I'm pulling up my notes now. Obviously went to Nevada, went to Cal Poly to start his career. I'm trying to figure out where I had Kobe Sanders ranked. I had him at 53, two-way contract. Makes total sense to me. 6'7" without shoes, largely an on-ball player at Nevada.
Yeah.
Best part of his game, I thought, was his passing. He averaged 4.5 assists versus only 1.8 turnovers per game. And this was moving up from the Big West into the Mountain West, which is a big leap in competition. Doesn't get a ton of paint touches, but still finds a way to be remarkably useful due to his pull-up game. Thrives in the mid-range, drilled 46% of his pull-up shots this year, which is an awesome number for mid-range jumpers. Didn't take a ton of pull-up threes, but made 14 of 31 on those. Yeah, I mean, just effective player. Good basketball player. Big question here is athleticism. He does not separate from anybody. Foot speed on defense is a significant concern. Didn't resemble an impact defender at Nevada at all. Thought he struggled to contain the ball pretty regularly. Feels like he has to make like informed gambles on where the ball is going. You know what I mean? Like when you know that you don't have a lot of speed, you're kind of making the early anticipatory read a lot of the time. I feel like he had to do that, and sometimes it would get him out of position. Where are you at on Kobe Sanders?
Yeah, I had him in like this range, mid 40s. We think he's a wing, right? Like he's not playing point guard in the NBA.
I think he's a wing. Yeah, I don't think he can separate well enough to play.
Okay, I just like I saw something the other day that like referred to him as a point guard primary initiator, and I just like I see him as a versatile wing, great size there. I mentioned the athleticism as well, like lacking some of that. He has advantage exploiter potential because all of that stuff you mentioned with the on the ball, the passing, whatever, you take that into a wing spot, and now that ends up being really nice. Got to knock down shots, and then you mentioned it, the defense has to improve.
It's truly very funny that the Clippers and Knicks executed a trade for 50 and 51.
Yeah, right.
What are we doing? What are we doing here? This is great. Shout out those guys.
It's beautiful.
I'm literally just gonna have to text my friends in their front offices and just be like, "Come on, can we not maybe? Can we chill just a little bit?
So
slow down touch here."
Tanji is the best player you have left?
Tanji is the best player I have left. My only player remaining in the top 42. And then he and Bryce Williams are my only two top 50 remaining players. That's fucking bonkers, Bryce. Holy shit.
I have 4.
We are 50 picks through the draft and 48 of my top 50 have been taken. What are we doing here?
I only have 46.
That's hysterical. I mean, I get it that it's like a tight group this year for sure, but that's wow. That's something. I'm a little bit surprised by that, to be honest with you. Okay, so the Clippers are up. Maybe they just needed a little bit more time. Like maybe the Knicks just like are still trying to figure it out. Maybe they needed to find Jimmy Dolan.
So no,
they
real
needed
quick.
5 minutes. Like that could be it.
Shams report today that the we're 2 hours in. Who traded up for Rasheer? The Suns. The Suns were doing their
said Tui as well is still available. That's another name.
Yeah, I have Tui also. That's my best player award. The Suns were doing their last minute scouting and whatever on Rasheer Fleming leading up to the 8 p.m. start time. I'm like,
yeah, it feels concerning.
That is very, if that is true, there is something wrong because we've had a lot of time to scout Rasheer Fleming, guys. We didn't need to wait till he fell to 31 after round 1 to go to the film and figure it out. So that seems not ideal.
Okay, so Mohamed Diawara is the Knicks pick. Did you watch Mohamed Diawara tape, Bryce?
Sam, I watch a lot of film. This one's all you, my guy.
Okay, so played for Cholet over in France. I'm pulling up I have to pull up my actual I have to pull up the back end numbers here and the back end like table that we have to get the actual measurements right now, which is great. Like something in the vicinity, like 6'7" with like a 7'1" wingspan, physical frame, great defender, as much as anything, like real potential to be a high leverage defender at some point. The offense is just like a total, like it's a real, this is going to take some time evaluation. And to the point where I don't really know that he's ever going to get there in terms of the offense, but averaging 6 points, 3 rebounds a game for Cholet this year. As I pull this up, because I didn't even write a draft guide profile on Diawara. I think I had him ranked 79, but this is a stash. Like they're obviously stashing him. They don't have time to, or they don't have like a roster spot for him, I don't think. So Diawara, again, like the whole pitch here is defense. Like he is like a genuinely physical, tough defender who is switchable at the point of attack. Like he is, I think pretty, I'm trying to remember what I had the weight at. Let me see if I can find my spreadsheet here. Okay, there it is. So what do we have the weight at for Mohamed Diawara? There it is. 6'8" without shoes, 7'4" wingspan, 9'2" standing reach, 227 pounds. So even longer than what I said. The whole idea here is like a big forward wing defender, basically. And if he ever shoots it, we'll see what it looks like. You know what I mean?
Yep. Sounds great.
So better or worse prospect than Tarek Baberovic? Baberovic is a better prospect for sure than Mo Diawara, I think.
Baberovic was the one that was the shocker. Was that wasn't last year, was it? 2 years ago?
2 years ago, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not have Baberovic in my top 100, but I thought it was a deeper group that year. Baberovic has always been able to like really, really shoot it. Diawara can defend, but like it's in the physical frame is obviously a joke, 6'8", 7'4" wingspan, but it's a deal where it's going to take a lot of time offensively. And I would be surprised if he makes it over, frankly, but we will see. And now he gets to join Pacom Dadie as the French Knicks contingent.
Love it.
All right, that's where we're at. So just in terms of like how likely the Diawara shooting bet is, we're talking about a guy that's like a 55% free throw shooter, right? Like, did make 76% last year. It's worth noting, but like that was the outlier year. 55% the year before that, 56% the year before that. Just looking through the national team stuff, played at the under 20s this past summer. 70 was a starter for them, but averaged 7 points per game. Just to give people some context, like at the under 20s, if you're a draft prospect, you should be averaging more than 7 points per game. He's just not he's not an offensive player. Like it's pure defense with Diawara.
Yep.
Who went 52? Do we have a 52?
We do. I saw that this was our guy, Alex Tui, went to the Golden State Warriors.
All right, there we go. I will give you the floor on Tui because I know that you like Alex Tui.
Yeah,
I also like Tui for what it's worth.
Yeah, he was easily the best player available on my board. I actually really like this fit for him. Like, I think he makes a lot of sense here in terms of a versatile forward. Maybe he can guard some multiple positions. Potential real dribble pass shoot ability for his role, shoot, cut, offensive rebound. I have dubbed him like the champion of awkward finishes in the lane, but like if you make it, does it matter? Like, I don't know that it matters. So as long as it translates, he puts the ball in the basket, he's a cutter. And here's why I like him in Golden State. He makes quick decisions. Like the ball is in his hands, the ball is out of his hands. He makes the next play, moves, all of that will get out in transition. And then I think he can guard a little bit and has some versatility there as well.
I think he's like genuinely really good on defense.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that. Like, I think he has like real defensive potential. Really sharp team defender, knows where he's supposed to be at all times, rotates really well across the back line, knows when to tag the roll man, recovers out to corners and wings really well. Stays big and can like defend the weak side in 1-on-2 situations, really disruptive and timely when he gets to his spots, just constantly aware. And like the biggest thing that, you brought up the communication with Chaz Lanier, he's constantly communicating. Like he's constantly talking, trying to figure out where to go, trying to help his teammates to figure out where to go. Was really switchable in the NBL this year. I'm skeptical of that in the NBA.
Sure.
But, was really switchable. Showed some ability to get over screens, but like it's going to continue to be a point of emphasis. I think stays super active with his feet. Dealt with like post fives. Like I thought Alex Tui was probably one of the 5 or 6 best defenders in the NBL this year. Like I thought he was really that good. Take shots off of like a 1-2 step. Can take a little bit longer to get the shot off. And the shooting numbers have never been as good as what the release looks like. So
sure,
his route to being an NBA player will be to improve the shooting.
Yep. I mean, like I said, we said it was going to be a common theme with a lot of these second round picks. Either it was going to be, can you shoot or can you defend? I think this ends up being a really good spot for Alex Tui. I thought he was going to go earlier in the second round, but if he's going to last and, end up at 52, ending up in with the Warriors and kind of how they play and what his skill set is, I think is a really, really nice, mesh.
We also have 53. John Tonji is
there
here.
You go. This is your guy.
Fascinating player on my board. So 6'5" with a 6'9" wingspan. Just looks like he's like an NFL safety build, right? I love these guys that are big and strong. Plays with force, like real tough player. Was one of the most productive players in college basketball this season. 20 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists per game. Second team All-American, carried Wisconsin to the NCAA tournament this year. But the big skill here, I'm going to be transparent. I hated watching John Tonji this year. Hated it. Was the epitome of like a player that was just more physical than everybody else in college basketball and would just like try and draw fouls because he knew he could, right?
Yeah.
And he was smart and he was effective at doing it. But the more I thought about him as a draft prospect, I was like, okay, so yeah, that's not going to work in the NBA. But do you know what will work? The fact that he's a real shooter, like great shot mechanics, ball comes out of his hands every time, the exact same. Drilled 42% of his catch and shoot threes this year, drilled 91% from the line, 39% from three overall, hit 12 of 26 from three off of screens or dribble handoffs. And then defensively, he's slow, but physical. Like he's strong and able to like really hold up at the point of attack. And like, if you try to go through his chest, it's going to be a problem. Like you're not going to get through it. Having said that, he's not very quick. And the passing is not ideal. Like there's just a lot that he's going to have to work with. But in the 40s, 50s, I don't mind Tonji as like a real, hey, let's take a flyer on a 6'5" shooter.
Where's he going? Who made this pick?
This is Utah, I believe.
So Jazz at 53 for Tonji.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I kind of had the same process in terms of like you watch him play and he averaged almost 7 free throw attempts a game, and he shot it really well, right? Like 91% from the free throw line. It was just like, this isn't going to translate. Like he's not going to get these calls when he gets into the league because he's not going to be a superstar. But then just you looked at the shooting profile in general, and he's career 86% from the free throw line, Sam. He's 38% from three for his career. So he can knock down shots. Again, physical build. I think there's been a common theme. A lot of these guys that we have kind of liked, especially here in the second round, that we think may have a chance to make it, have that physical build. And if he can shoot it, and then he can attack in straight lines off a closeout, shot fakes, hold his line with that. I thought his off-ball defense was engaged. Like, I thought that was decent. The on-ball defense, I think, is going to be, a struggle and a concern.
Yep. All right. Best players available now that like we've really kind of gotten through. All of my guarantee grades are gone. All of my top two-ways are gone. Bryce Williams, 43 is my best player remaining. Max Shulga, 47. Vlad Golden, 51. Salas, 52. Those are my only, like, these guys should 100% be on two-way grades remaining. And then beyond them, we are looking at Lockie Ulbrich, who I think is like a great stash. Chucky Hepburn, Ryan Nemhard, RJ Lewis, Jemai Meshack.
Yep.
Like we're deep. We're deep in the weeds, baby. Let's go.
This is what we do. I can't wait. So yeah, I have Shulga. I like Hunter Salas, Vlad Golden, Meshack. I still like Keyshawn Gilbert. Like, I think at this point in the draft, like I would just like, I think he's a big time defender. And if he can figure out the offense,
okay. We have a wild ride here.
Okay.
At number 54.
Okay.
With the Indiana Pacers. we have a real wild ride insofar as I have watched this player play like 2 or 3 games. Like really not much.
We're in trouble.
So the pick is in. They haven't announced it yet. So we'll wait. But
I say
Gavoni has it.
Stall for as long as possible. So
yeah, this is a player that, to my knowledge, was not invited to Portsmouth or anything.
Oh shoot.
This is going to be beautiful.
I hope I have notes. I will be so proud of myself if I have notes here.
I'm going to be pretty sure you don't have notes on this guy.
Okay. Challenge accepted, Sam Vecenie.
Yeah. Because he was It's actually like genuinely insane that they're making this pick. I'm not gonna lie to you. I understand why they're doing it. It's like a pure shooting bet, but it's a wild ride. All right, Bryce, talk real quick because I have to make some notes here for the Athletic folks.
So we still haven't made the announcement. All right, so I'm trying to think second round, some of my favorite picks here. I like what the draft in general. I like what the Hornets have done all around. When Sam asked at the top, I mentioned Knipple and Liam McNeely. They get Sion James and Ryan Kalkbrenner. Like I like what they did there at 32 and 33, especially at a center position where they just traded away Mark Williams. I'm not saying he's going to come in and start right away and be that, but I like what Charlotte has done overall with their draft. So I like those second round picks that they got there. If I just look at my board and some of the best values, Penda for the Magic is a really good one. I obviously love the Kings getting Maxime Renaud at 42. And then the fact that they pair that with what they did in the first round by getting Nick Clifford. I think Sacramento actually had a really nice draft here as well. Alex Tui to the Warriors, one that just recently happened, is one I love. I think that's a great fit for Tui. If he's going to make it work in the NBA, I think Golden State is the perfect offense for him.
Have they announced? They have to have announced this pick by now, right? Like this has to be out at this point. I'm like a little bit frustrated now. All right, we're just gonna say who it is. Gavoni has this, and we're just gonna say who it is.
Yep.
So the Indiana Pacers have taken Talon Peter from Liberty.
Yeah, I lose.
Okay. So Talon Peter is like a pure sniper. Like he is a 6'3" I'm gonna guess. 6'3" to 6'4", like pure shooter, right? This is like spreadsheet to the spreadsheet to the spreadsheet, like sleeper, right? 58% from the field, 45% from three, 77% from the line. Does rebound the ball a little bit for his size. Steal rate is not terrible. Like we're talking like the purest of pure sleepers here. Didn't even really start at Liberty, right? Started at Tennessee Tech, then went where? He went to what
Arkansas Tech.
I think Arkansas Tech, yeah, is the JUCO, I was gonna say.
No, so maybe there's a year. No, he went Tennessee Tech, then 3 years at Arkansas Tech, and then
correct.
Liberty. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no way ESPN has highlights of Talon Peter. That could genuinely be why they decided to take the long commercial, I would guess. Yeah, look, like just a pure 3-point sniper is what it is. And I'm guessing that like they see the steal rate and the rebounding rate for his size, and they're like, okay, maybe we can make him something. I didn't really see anything here other than the shooting. And maybe that's enough, but I tend to think that like pure shooters don't totally work in the way
this was Indiana. Is that who you said made this pick?
Indiana made this pick, I believe. Yeah. And then we have Lockie Ulbrich to Chicago at 55, who is a player that we can talk about.
Yeah, so Bulls at 55. Man, we're almost done.
We're closing in. We got 4 more, baby.
I know.
So Lockie Ulbrich. Really, really fun player. He's almost like stylistically, I mean, when I say this, he plays like a 6'8", like Jokic in Australia, kind of. And like, there's just real diminishing returns when you don't have the height. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's just really, really hard to be that guy whenever you don't have the height and you don't quite have the same touch levels that Jokic does. But in the same way that like, you watch Jokic and he's like trying to grab and go on the break and he has like amazing hands and catches everything in his vicinity. Like, and, just has incredible control over the ball. And like, it's stylistically, you can see the influence there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Great rebounder, then will immediately grab and go up the court.
Yeah.
Versatile offensive chess piece is the idea here. Really good in dribble handoffs, great feel for the game, very real ball handler. I think he passes better than what the numbers say. Averaged 1.6 assists per game, but only played 16 minutes. I feel like he controls the ball really, really well and throws like these cross corner and cross wing kickouts at a high level. It's just defensively, I don't know what position he plays. Doesn't move well enough to play on the 4. Probably not big enough to be a 5. Doesn't, it's very heavy footed in ball screen coverages. And, despite the fact that he has really good hand-eye coordination, I didn't feel like his hands were all that disruptive on defense either. So, and then doesn't have a jumper at all. So that's like the whole other issue.
So for like people who like really follow or interested, he went to a freshman season at UC Riverside and then went over to the NBL.
By the way, was the freshman of the year in the Big West. Like, was really good there.
And the shooting numbers just are not intriguing, including the free throw percentage, but all of the other stuff you said, like, I have grab and go written over and over in my notes and can operate DHOs and like understands. And I think he's really good off the ball in terms of like positioning and knowing where to be, like getting to the dunker spot or work his way for inside position on an offensive rebound. And he plays extremely hard. So like all of these things play together really, really well. It's just like not a great athlete. I'm worried about the defense, but there are some fun offensive things.
Yep. All right. So we are up now at 56, it looks like.
Last 4 picks of the draft, right? 59 this year.
59 picks. All right. This is amazing because I actually am going to have to write something really quick on Talon Peter and make it so that the Athletic has something for the ticker. Bryce, you're going to have to take control of the wheel real quick here.
Okay, and we do not have a pick at whatever pick we are on. All right, I'll go back to second round picks I really like. I didn't get through all of those. I mentioned I like Proctor for the Cavaliers are interesting depending on what happens with free agency for them. Again, like we talked about with him being as skinny as he is definitely concerning. But if he can figure that part out, I think coming in, knocking down shots, could be, find a way into the backcourt for Cleveland. Other real good values. I like Jameer Watkins. So the Wizards draft, I really have come around on Trey Johnson. So getting him at 6, like just staying put there and getting the upside scoring that he could provide. Will Riley is a really interesting player that once he fills out his frame and his body, and then you add Jameer Watkins. So like that's a nice little draft for Washington. I don't mind that one at all.
Bryce, talk about Chaz Lanier at 37. The people want to know your take.
Oh, my bad. My take, Maxime Renault was on the board, and so that automatically makes it a touch frustrating for me. I just think that Maxime Renault would have given the Pistons big man rotation something it really lacks, and a proof of concept or not of Cade Cunningham playing with a floor spacing big. And I thought that 37 was a really good opportunity for Detroit to add that archetype of big to the roster that they don't currently have. In terms of Lanier, that is, obviously who Trajan went with. Big time shooting, we talked about it. I have a hard time getting frustrated or upset or critiquing adding floor spacing to the Detroit Pistons roster. And so I'm not like going to be overly upset about it. He's going to have to be able to defend. I wonder what that looks like on that end of the floor. I also wonder if it ends up being a Tim Hardaway Jr. replacement. Like if they end up not going with THJ, they let him walk in free agency and feel like they can replace some of that floor spacing with Lanier.
So we've got the Warriors coming up here at 56 now. This is going to be Will Richard, I believe, at Florida. They really liked him and they really wanted him on a 2-way. I know that. They're announcing now. I hope it's Will Richard. Let's see. Come on, Mark Tatum. Give me Will Richard. Don't make me look stupid. It is Will Richard. Cool. Okay. Will Richard, like 6'4" guard from Florida, was on their national title team this past year. Really tremendous, like 3-and-D is the idea here. Good basketball player across the board, just not a super athlete is the issue. Average 13 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists per game, 49% from the field, 36% from three, 84% from the line. But the idea here again is like physical defense as much as anything. Like he is tough, he is physical, he is strong, can really hold up the point of attack. I just don't think he's all that quick, unfortunately. And I would be a little bit surprised given the fact that he's like 6'3" to 6'4". Does have real long arms, like 6'10" wingspan, like very, very real length. But where are you at on Will Richard here?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm fine with it at this point. There's a lot of guys that I had like kind of right outside my top 60 that are ending up off the board above the guys I had a little bit higher, which is fine. Like that makes sense. And yeah, he knocks down shots 36% on good volume. So started his career at Belmont before transferring to Florida. If the defense can be as truly impactful, like the real opportunity to be a 3-and-D wing for Will Richard, he's got to knock down shots. Like I think that is the like ultimate like skill, like that's the elite skill, the superpower, whatever. That's what it has to be. I don't see a whole lot of upside otherwise with the offensive game, but if he knocks down shots and then he's able to, you know, be that defensive impact, if the foot speed is better or he holds up physically, then this can be a rotation 3-and-D wing.
That is, that's basically it with Will Richard. We're up at 57 now with Orlando. We have got this deal going to Boston, I believe. And then 59 is going to be going to Memphis again because that was to the Warriors. And this is like a total trash fire now, Bryce. We're like disassembling here. And then 58, I think, actually is Cleveland. My guess is that 58 will be Saliu Niang, if you made me guess. So prepare for that one, too. Did you watch Saliu Niang at all?
I did not.
Okay, fair enough. Plays for Trento. He's like an athletic, idea, hopefully being 3-and-D vibe, but we'll see. We've got 57 here with the Celtics. The pick is in. Let's see.
I'm fascinated to find out tomorrow if we got all of these teams right with the players.
I've been pretty on it, but the Talon Peter thing, because I have to do 4 things at once now because of the Athletic as well, definitely threw me a touch.
Yeah.
Here we go. We have got Max Shulga. There we go. Another one of my top 50 guys off the board.
That's the Celtics.
Going to the Celtics. That is that's a very Boston Celtics guy. And I dig this a little bit. Really did not play well at the combine, but 6'4", not super long, but 40% 3-point shooter on nearly 400 attempts. Drove 43% off the catch this year. Automatic when he gets a clean look, it feels like, from a standstill. Shot prep is like a little bit loose, and like he's generally got a bit of a loose vibe on the court, I would argue. But man, he drilled 40% of his threes from beyond 25 feet too. Like he's a real shooter. Really understands how to like drift and create open shots. Can play on the ball too. Like drew a ton of fouls. Understands how to use hang dribbles really well. Like one of those dudes is just a hooper, has like no fear whatsoever when he's on the court. Uses ball screens well, great passer, 4 assists versus only 1.7 turnovers per game. So the Atlantic 10 player of the year this year, like, was just absolutely fantastic throughout the course of the season. And I will also say, I think he's like an underrated defensive player. Like he will go and pick you up 70 feet from the rim and like try to bother you and annoy you. I think he navigates screens well, understands like where to go and like playing scramble switches and things like that. Very loose vibe on the court. There are times where he feels like he's marching to the beat of his own drum a little bit, like, gets frustrated with himself, and will have moments where he's like not all that active, kind of. It's never like toward his teammates or anything. Like he's just always like, it feels like he puts pressure on himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Defensively, like not a super athlete, right? Just is kind of one of those dudes that's like a little bit good at stuff, but not great at anything. You know what I mean?
So I had him as a fourth, fifth guard. I mean, I had him, he was the best player on my board here. I had him at 41. So again, I think this is great value for the Celtics here. Really nice pick. I love the offense. I'm a little less in on the defense, but it's a lot of the same stuff you said. That like in terms of the off-ball awareness kind of would come and go in terms of that. And I thought it was fine. Like I thought his defense was fine is where I landed as opposed to maybe some people who are a little higher on it. But I do like the offense. I thought he was patient, letting the game come to him. And then whenever he wanted to be aggressive, he had some real shit to his game. Like the way he played, the stuff he could do off the bounce, including the passing. And then you mentioned the jumper numbers and the shot. I thought the jumper looked effortless. Do it off the dribble, off the catch. So really interesting offensive player.
Yeah, interesting offensive player. Here we go. The Cavs have officially taken Saliu Niang, I believe. You've not watched Niang, have you?
No, I have not.
Okay. So that is not up on the draft tracker yet, it looks like. Okay, so let's assume that this is going to happen. I don't want to talk about Niang and like give like a full breakdown if I don't have to with him. And by the way, like the breakdown will be somewhat limited. I've watched a little bit more Trento than what you would think, but not a crazy amount. I ended up with him at 89th on my board. So at least someone who did end up being in the top 100 getting picked. The Talon Peter thing's a killer, man. We were real close to having only top 100 guys. And I know Kleiman is going to screw me here. And he's definitely going to take someone totally off my board.
At 59?
Oh, 100%.
It's definitely going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild one. I feel pretty confident of that. Okay, so it is Niang. Scotto has it. So we'll just talk about Saliu Niang. This has been kind of rumored for a while that this was anticipated. This is why I ended up being like knowing that it was Niang and was able to say it on stream. So Niang is a 6'7" like wing, 205 pounds, 6'11" wingspan, 8'9" standing reach. And really, like, he's a guy, again, defensive tools is the idea here, right? Like that, it's what it is. It's 8 points a game, 5 rebounds, 1.5 assists. But like doesn't really pass the ball super well, in my opinion, doesn't really make decisions super well. Off ball cutter for the most part, like not like, will grab offensive rebounds, pure energy and like athletic player. With Niang is what you're looking at. Like great measurements, athletic energy, gets after it, on the defensive end, not like a monster defender by any stretch. I thought Diawara had like a little bit more upside there to compare him to one of the other two guys. Certainly just from a frame perspective has a lot more upside, but Niang is also like quite skinny as well. Doesn't have that kind of like power yet. So yeah, that's what I can give you on Saliu Niang, having watched a few games here.
Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, it just speaks to the amount of players that have to be scouted and looked at and are on the board and being discussed, especially when you get into the second round, and especially whenever you get into this range of, being able to stash guys if you need to. Like this was where it comes down to roster spots. I'm sure the reports will come out about some guys who maybe could have gone in the second round, but decided they would rather just work their way into undrafted free agency to get to a spot they might feel like is more advantageous to them. So it's incredible.
Yep. Okay, now we're at 59. Again, this is going to be Memphis. Best players remaining on my board. Bryce Williams has to be number one, I would imagine. And Bryce Williams has some nice, like like dealt with a knee injury when he was younger at Charlotte. So like, I wouldn't be stunned if there are some concerns there. I didn't really ask around a ton about it, but I would not be surprised if there was something there. Public knowledge in terms of him having literally missed an entire season at Charlotte with a knee injury. Vlad Golden, 51. I only have one top 50 player remaining. That's good. In Bryce Williams. Golden, Salas, and Williams are my only 3 two-way guys left, it looks like. And then beyond that, we're in the Chucky Hepburn, Ryan Nembhard, RJ Lewis, Jemai Meshack, Dylan Cardwell, Victor Locken kind of mold.
Yep. Salas is my only top 50 grade left. I have Vlad Golden. Trying to look at some of the other names that maybe Nembhard I have here. The other names that Locken you mentioned. Yeah. And no way Kleiman takes any of those guys. Like he's just going to take something completely random.
It's a good question. Who do I think that he will take? I tend to be pretty good with Memphis. I can see a world where they decide on Meshack. Wouldn't blow my mind, honestly. I can see them liking Bryce Williams, honestly, a little bit. At 59. What person is like way down deep on my board that I think that Jonathan Pierre, I can see them liking.
Okay.
If we're like looking for a deep cut.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who do we got? 59 to the Memphis Grizzlies. Come on, Mark. All right, here we go. He's got the envelope. Mark Tatum, number 59 overall, last pick in the draft. Come on.
Did you call it?
Who do you think they took?
Pierre.
No, it's not. It's someone I like way more than that.
Okay.
Jemai Meshack.
Oh, okay.
I know them well. And we think the reason is that like we think alike on a lot of things. We very much think alike on a lot of things. I am a big fan of the way Memphis does their things, but can we talk about Jemai Meshack momentarily? And I'm going to guess you're going to give me the floor on this one.
I have notes, but I will let you do your thing.
Jemai Meshack is my guy. 6'5" with a 6'8" wingspan. I thought he was the best defensive player in college basketball, just point blank. I think he is like one of the best defensive players on the planet, like on the perimeter, not in the interior, but like is a 6'3" to 6'6" like guard, wing, whatever. Genuinely one of the best defensive players on the planet. Consistently took Tennessee's toughest assignments all the time, makes life absolutely miserable for whoever's in front of him, and does it in a wide variety of ways. Starts at the point of attack. He crawls right into your space and makes you feel his pressure immediately. Stays obscenely tight to offensive players, put the clamps on them. Just also has like this incredible sense of the scouting report, I think. Like he beats guys to their spot that they're trying to go to, just has like absolutely awesome anticipation in that way. Very switchable, gets through screens at an absolutely elite level, like absolutely elite, super disruptive, great hand-eye coordination, gets a ton of deflections, elite off the ball, anticipation and communication, just like kind of remarkable to watch in real time. Knows exactly what you're going to do before you do it. Incredible scramble rotations out to shooters or to jump passing lanes. Opponents shot 34% against him per synergy. This year, 1.7 steals per game, blocked half of a shot per game. Offensively, it is a project. It is a project. Doesn't really do anything on that end that gives me a whole lot of hope, I would say. 1.5 3-point attempts per game, took 134 threes over 137 collegiate games. He did make 35% from three on those attempts over the last 2 years. If he shoots at all, he is an NBA rotation player. But I don't know if we're gonna get there. And like the other thing is that like the intel on him is not just good, it's like fucking sterling. It's like this dude is an absolute leader, like great dude to have around your program, all of that.
Yeah, I mean, at 59, this is what you should be doing, right? Like get him in there, let him defend his butt off at the very, like, especially if that's the type of intel, that's a great person to have in your organization. It's a great player to go put in the G League and set a tone for your G League team and the players around him there. And like you said, like you get a couple years to figure out if he's going to be able to figure out the jumper. Like, can your developmental staff get him to, like, even if it's just like a little below league average, whatever it needs to be on the court so that he can provide the defensive impact that he's capable of.
Yep. All right, so Eric Dixon to the Lakers on a two-way, Chucky Hepburn to the Raptors on a two-way. Portland has signed Caleb Love to a two-way as well. Yeah, I look, I'm probably higher on Meshack than most, to be honest. So, you know, I love this. Good for Memphis.
You said Caleb Love
to Portland, yeah.
To Portland on a two-way.
Yep.
This is the fun part to try and track now.
Oh, I'm done tracking this. I'm not playing this game right now. I'll figure it out in a day. We'll figure it out.
Hold on, Eric Dixon got a two-way with the Lakers, not just Interesting. Okay.
Yep. Eric Dixon is on a two-way.
Can score the basketball.
Okay, your favorite pick of the night, Bryce?
Maxime Renaud. I mean,
that's obvious for you.
Yeah, I mean, I just, if I'm gonna stay true to my board, I mean, I had him at 28 on my board. He went 42 to the Kings. If I'm going somewhere else, I like the two picks the Hornets made, Sam. I really do.
That's my immediate reaction too.
Yeah, I like those. And I'll bring it up on, you know what? Like, I like Alex Tui. Like, again, I he's a top 40 player for me. I think he ended up in a really, really good spot with the Warriors.
Yep. I would say the Charlotte picks are probably in tandem my favorite of the night. Again, like I said, like I tried to move Sion James like to 31 on my board, like at the last minute. I think he's a real dude. And then I really also like Kalkbrenner. I had his first round grade on him. So to do that after trading Mark Williams for him, I think is really smart. Or after trading Mark Williams to Phoenix, I think is really sharp. I like, obviously, Noah Penda. I had Noah Penda 21 on my board, so to get him at 32 is a huge win.
Sure.
Who else? Yeah, Tui's a good one. I like the Elijah Martin pick a lot, I would say.
Shulga, one here that we had here late. I like that pick for Boston. I had him.
I like Shulga. Yeah. I'm just gonna call out to both Barnheiser and Meshack getting picked. My two guys. Those are actually my guys in this class. Like, it's like Elijah Martin, it's Barnheiser, and it's Meshack. Like, I don't even know if any of those guys are going to stick in the NBA. I think the odds are against them in a variety of ways. But I just, like, if I was running like an international team somewhere, I'd be like ecstatic to try and get these dudes on my team. Like, if I was here like running an NBL team, I'd be like, yes, these are my guys. I absolutely want them on my team because they make my program better. Basically, just through their presence, I think.
Sure. No, it's a great call.
Look, Bryce, you and I are going to do a roundup on Sunday of all of this, right? Yep. Like, we're not going to like belabor this necessarily and like, you know, go super long. We went for 2 hours and 43 minutes on the second round and gave you analysis on every player that was picked, despite the fact that you and I had no notes on Talon Peter and I had to go off the dome on Talon Peter because, like, you know, a couple of people on the NBA side, if you know who you are, thank you, clued me in to, you know, maybe watch a little bit of him. I appreciate all of you. Thank you.
I mean, we had 1,000 viewers, I think, throughout most of this. I mean, it's the second night of the
entire thing. Yeah, the entire time we had 1,000.
It's incredible. And so, again, I said it.
There were 2,000 people watching this at a certain point, which is completely batshit bananas.
I mean, I love it. It's a sicko situation. We love it. We enjoy it. If you're here, thank you. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you can stay around. Because as Sam said, Sunday we'll recap this, and then who knows how many days next week we go live to talk about free agency moves and trades and whatever else happens. And then we're 10 days away from Summer League all of a sudden, to 11 days, something like that. It's a little more than that. We're about 2 weeks right now. So getting close though.
I'm excited. I leave for Las Vegas in a little under 2 weeks, actually, is the crazy thing. Yep. So that's going to be a long flight where I get back to the United States. And Bryce and I will be together along with GMAC, who will be out there as well. We appreciate all of you guys immensely for coming to hang out and watching the show with us. We are so excited to be able to continue to bring you this show, and so excited to be able to continue to talk about these things. We do have to do super chats though, Bryce.
Let's do it.
Daniel Garrett asked that question a while ago. We have gotten to that one. Patrick Bateman says, I played against Rocco in high school. Love this. He's developed hugely since then. Also, Sam, I've seen you talk to Freewave on Twitter. What do you think of the spreadsheet community? I think that there are different ways to evaluate things, and like I'm open to all ways to evaluate basketball, basically. I wish that sometimes the spreadsheet community would not feel as certain in their opinions as they seem to. I think that they tend to have a little bit more certainty, because I think that, just frankly, I think I was probably this way when I was younger. I think a lot of the spreadsheet community is like a little bit younger, honestly, and that's totally okay too. And I think that when you're younger, you don't quite have the wisdom probably that I have now, and that many people who do this like professionally in the NBA have now. And you probably are a little bit too strong in your opinions, right? And a little bit too certain on things, right? But I love the identification aspect. Like, I think they do an amazing job of identifying interesting players that are often worth deeper dives, for sure. Like, I think that is like the real value of that entire thing that's going on over there. The other piece of it is like, I think they often are missing like some intel pieces, and that's fine too. You know what I mean? Like, they're not doing this professionally. Like I literally get to make calls all day to find out what's going on, like with Jace Richardson and all of these players, right? So it's, I love the fact that they are out there and talking about basketball and breaking down basketball. Like I think they're great. I have no beef with them whatsoever. From Brian Harp, what's there not to like about Steven Settle? Feels like a great flyer to take in the second round. I didn't really love his tape, to be honest. He's just not my kind of player, though. He's super tall and skinny, and those just aren't my guys.
Yeah, I mean, the pitch here is what, like 6'10" floor spacer, right? Like,
yeah,
sure, we see him at Summer League. Somebody will take a chance on him, but
no question.
Yeah, just not here.
Yeah, I mean, look, like, just extremely, extremely skinny. And those, I think those are the guys that really struggle in the NBA, the extremely skinny guys. From Daniel Garrett, shout out to you. What is Will Richards' best fit in free agency? I think we got it. I think it's Golden State. And that would have been my answer. Like I said at the time, they really liked him and were trying to get in and do it.
Yep.
From Connor Easterday, a lot of analytics guys love Talon Peter. Yeah, it was one of the people who clued me in on the NBA side was an analytics guy. Like, hey, take a look at this player. So yeah, that tracks for me. Shout out to you, Connor. Thank you. From Sebastian, Indiana State, Ohio, Pirates, Pistons. Can we get some Longhorns merch in the podcast? Some Archie Manning love. I don't know, hook 'em. More Trey Johnson love. Hey, Trey Johnson's going to be one of my favorite picks in the draft, so I'm excited to talk about it. I was going to
say, I gave the Wizards draft some love, and it started with really buying into the idea of Trey Johnson being there. So my mom is from Texas, Sebastian, so I got some Texas roots here.
Yeah. Hey, the Longhorns, they have a real coach now, so that's exciting. Shout out to Sean Miller. Shout out Dalen Swain. Shout out all those folks down there in Austin. Austin is also genuinely one of my favorite cities in the country. It is
Vlad Golden to the Heat. Love it.
Glorious. Shout out Vlad Golden to the Heat. There we go. Mark Sears to the Bucks. Hunter Salas to the 76ers. And shout out to Jacob over at Legum. Way to kill it the cycle, guys. Best value pick in the second round. I think both of us would say Tui if we're looking at value picks particularly. I mean, like for me, it honestly might be Penda, given that I had Penda at 21 and that's like a 11 pick delta. But yeah.
I mean, I feel like I keep giving the same answer. It's Renault, it's Tui. I'm with you with Penda as well. Like I don't have quite as big a gap as like Renault is 14 spots for me. Penda's isn't as much, but just with what I think Penda is, like those are the two guys. Those two and Kalkbrenner are the three guys that I had like potential first round picks that ended up in the second round. So all three of those.
Yeah, and look, like the other thing that's worth bringing up here is just like what were some of these guys thinking leaving? Like RJ Lewis is like the obvious one. It's just like what happened here, man? Like how in the world did we end up with a world where RJ Lewis goes undrafted and he would have been making multiple millions of dollars to play college basketball next season? Just like a total calamity of a decision by the people advising him. Yeah, that's honestly, like I genuinely feel bad for RJ Lewis right now because the people that advised him just like completely screwed that up in every way. And we knew it at the time. I tweeted about it at the time. I knew it at the time, talked about it at the time. I really wish him the best, but who you have advising you really matters. I hope that people understand that. And I hope that can be a lesson for this. Like people will ask, like, why do you need an agent? Why do you need this? Like situations like this are why like representation and people who have done this before is very, very important.
I've said it recently, Sam, before I got into the business and talked to people and all of that, I would not have realized I would have been one of those people. Like, man, agents are just stealing money from these kids. It's like, no, there's real decisions and avenues that are being pushed and helped with that are very, very important.
Yeah. And to be clear, like that's like, I think that, you know, I think he's repped by Rock Nation for what it's worth. I'm actually not taking shots at Rock there, to be clear. That's, I don't think that they were the ones telling him to go to the draft, if I had to guess. So, okay. That's where we're at. Bryce, tell the people where they can find your work. Tell the people what's going on.
Yeah, at Motor City Hoops on Twitter, on Blue Sky. I tweeted out, Twitter like knocked me out for a little while, actually at the Pistons pick, but I think I have all of them out there. All the video breakdowns. So if you're a fan of a few different teams, I have video breakdowns on the Substack. You can go check that out. Just go to my Twitter. You can scroll through and see. I think I have 14 total players, 8 to 12-minute videos, the Pistons Pulse podcast. Otherwise, Game Theory podcast here with Sam Vecenie. Thank you guys all so much.
Go to The Athletic. Keep me employed over there. You will have analysis from John Hollinger and I breaking down every single pick of this draft. Go over to The Athletic as well. I have winners and losers from the first night up, and I will have team-by-team draft grades up tomorrow as well. It's a fun night, fun day, and it's only 12:45 in Australia. I have to go record the Slam and Jam for this weekend.
There you go.
Shout out to Andrew. Shout out to Alex Spears. Our GOATs, our icons, our Oklahoma City brothers. We'll be back later this weekend on Sunday. Until next time, we'll talk soon. Bye.